All right, good evening, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. Christy, will you take roll call, please?
John?
Here.
Melanie? Here. Jake?
Here.
Linda?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. John, will you lead us?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I approve the publication in front of me. Visitors' correspondence. Anyone desiring to speak on any item or issue not on the agenda or any item on the agenda that does not include a public hearing may do so, but shall be limited to 3 minutes. Persons should identify themselves by name and address. Persons speaking should not expect the council to engage in back and forth dialogue regarding their comments. Unless an agenda item includes a public hearing, no person may speak during the business portion of the meeting, provided, however, persons speaking during the public hearing are limited to between 5 and 20 minutes. The public is advised that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is located on the north wall of the council chambers. One copy of all reproducible written material to be discussed at this meeting is available for examination or copying. Is there anyone that would like to speak tonight? Okay, come up to the podium, please.
Hello, my name is Gary Smith. I live at 204 South Park Avenue, which is right on the south side of the park. I'm the first house right there. And what I'd like to address tonight is my fence is literally 8 foot from my house. And I literally sit right there in the chair and there's my wall and 8 foot out there. And during the ball games, everybody parks right up along my fence there. And literally I've got people 8 foot from me while I'm trying to eat dinner. My bathroom's on that side, bedrooms are on that side. I moved in there last year, November. I've had people come around the car and urinate, right there by the fence, basically 8 foot from where I'm sitting. I get trash. I get all kinds of problems there. What I'd like to do is get no parking signs put up from basically the front of my house to the back of my house. I don't care about my yard. It goes all the way down to the end of the park. I understand that people think they need to park there, but I would just like them not to park by my house. So I could just, have some privacy. I measured it, it's 8 foot 3 inches from where they're parking to my living room, bathroom, bedroom. I really don't want to keep my windows pulled all the time. So I'd like to just see if I can get some no parking signs up there. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak today? All right. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda. I need a motion to approve the agenda. Oh, okay.
Nobody else is gonna say it, I am. I'm Roger Bevington, I live at 304 Northwest Street. I got some water if any of you want to drink it.
Well, that's clear compared to mine.
I bet it is. Anybody else got a water sample with them tonight? Anybody want to drink it? Fix the water. Fix the mains. No new city hall, no more parks. Fix the water.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak tonight? Okay. Now I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So
Second. Vote, please. All in favor? Need a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I have some questions on this.
Okay.
The first one, if I could ask the city treasurer a question. It was on the April additional invoices for, it looked like it was a BOK Financial, 2 of them. I was just seeing if you could explain that to me, please.
Those are bonds. Lori Sorensen, city treasurer. Those are bonds Those were bond payments
For,
for the park and for highway allocation for street work. The 1 in 6 year street work project.
both of them were for that?
No, one is for the park
Okay.
and the other one's for highway for street repair.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For the invoices, I just wanted to see the Plan and Associates. What was the $5,000 change order for? I guess anybody can answer that.
I have to recall in my head here. That was for the SEPA. There were some discrepancies with the single audit, and it had to go back and be re-reviewed due to grant receivable amounts and the discrepancies thereof. Schedule of federal awards,
Okay.
schedule of expenditures of federal awards, yeah.
And the creative planning.
Mhm.
That one, for 11,075.
That's audit work.
Audit work.
Mhm.
Okay.
They prepare our financial statements for our audit.
Okay. And the core and main, $26,000 payment,
Meters,
meters.
water meters. That was meters, yeah. That's buying in bulk,
Okay.
buying a group, a bunch of
For
meters.
the meters,
The 3/4 and the 1 inch for when they're building
Replacement of
and that, yep.
okay. And and for the, I don't know if I can see it, maybe it's available, maybe I can't find it. So the budget versus the actual what we spent, can we have that every month?
Sure,
Current budget
I can,
included in our.
you want it included in the packet
Yes, please.
with the
I
treasurer's
would like to
report?
see it,
Sure,
Yeah. So, and then the last one I have is just from, maybe Mr. Farmer can say I saw the charges and I didn't see one. I just wanted to see how much roughly for Glass Lake, the charges.
I'd have to look at the bills. We itemize them separately, and so we have a separate billing account on that. And I can give you that detail. I can't give it to you off the top of my head.
Okay,
Okay?
Sounds
I'll be happy to give it to you.
okay. That's it. Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
I would like to back up on that and ask, kind of more of a detail on general, under Farnham. It just says general.
That's all the general legal work that he does for the city.
Just itemized.
Yeah, we try and itemize each particular project. It is a separate project and it's a separate billing file. And then everything that's not in a separate file is in the general. And again, I don't have the bill. If you have any specific questions, I'd be happy to sit down with you or Andrea would and go through it.
Yeah, just the itemized invoice would be perfect.
Some of that we wouldn't be able to give out to the public because it is attorney-client privilege based on the project. So we will redact what we can and then get that out as well.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? If not, I would need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Vote please. All in favor? All right, number 8, 2025 Roland to Poland Annual Bike Ride, consideration and approval of request for recognition and acknowledgement in support of the event on June 29th, 2025. Seth, is there anything you would like to say, Seth?
Yeah.
You're gonna come up to the podium real quick, state your name and address. Thank you.
So I am Seth Baldwin. I currently serve as the Director of Oncology Support Services and Cancer Prevention for the Methodist Health System, as well as the President of the Great Plains Colon Cancer Task Force. It's really just here today to kind of request a formal acknowledgement from the city for our 17th annual Roland to Colon event that we are currently partnering with UC West as our host site and a bunch of other local organizations and other volunteers. So just either request some in the form of support from the city, so that we can move forward with our event scheduled at the end of June.
Anybody have any questions for staff? Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve support of the 2025 Roll into Colon bike ride event.
So moved.
Second.
Vote please. All in favor? Thanks, Ted. All right, number 9, Valley Suburban Fire District consideration and approval to close North Spruce Street for a training burn on May 24th, 2025 from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and request for use of 4 road closure signs from Public Works. Approximate length of the road to be closed is 0.2 miles. Nick is unable to be here tonight, but if anybody does have questions, Mike is here from the fire department. Does anybody have questions for the fire department?
I'd make a motion. Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Okay, John has made a motion to approve.
Second.
Vote please. All in favor? All right, for number 10, I am going to turn the meeting over to Council President John Batcher due to my relation to the Valley Days Foundation.
Sure. Number 10 is about the Valley Days Foundation, consideration of approval for sponsorship of Valley Days event, which we've done in the past. Looks like a payment of $5,000 from the Keno funds to support the Valley Days events on August 8, 9, and 10. Yes, great.
Angela Ekstrom, 502 South Park Ave here in Valley, Nebraska. In 2015, the annual Valley Days event was in coordination with the barbecue competition that was here in town. Both events were funded through the Keno funds and business sponsorships obtained by the city staff, and the event was primarily coordinated through the city staff as well. In 2018, the Valley Days Foundation got together with a bunch of citizens to form a nonprofit organization dedicated to the coordinating and funding of these community events and the betterment of our community. We're here tonight to request the approval of the $5,000 budgeted from Keno funds to support the 2025 Valley Days events, which is August 8th, 9th, and 10th this year. Funds are not commingled with any of the other events we do throughout the year. They're solely for the Valley Days event. And supporting the annual donation will ensure that these events can continue to go on without community or city time or other funds. So we're requesting approval of that this evening.
Thanks, Angel. I'd make a motion.
I have some questions. Just curious, because I don't know where to find it. Maybe Lori can help me with this. How much annually do we get in Keno funds a year?
We get roughly around 30, well, I don't know the exact amount per year. Per month, there's about 2 payments that come in, and they run anywhere from $3,000 to $3,500 or thereabouts each month. So you're looking at roughly around $6,000 to $7,000 a month.
All right, thank you. I would second John's motion.
I have one question.
Yeah.
More from the council side or Mr. Farnham. Is there, if the American Legion came and asked for like this amount, just for example, the American Legion, we could consider that?
I think it's community betterment, isn't it? Isn't that the term in the statute? So as long as it falls within the statutory guidelines, it's been pretty broadly interpreted over the years.
So they could just, an organization like that or Boy Scouts or something like that, they could come to the city and ask for this maybe?
Yeah, I mean, you need to know a little bit more about each specific request, the details, but generally the answer to your question is yes, if it's for a community betterment purpose.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
You have a motion and a second. You just have to put a vote.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. Any other questions? Okay. Vote please. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angela.
All right. Number 11, Mallard Landing Lake Community HOA, Rich Hudson, consideration and approval of the following requests. Fireworks display on July 5th and street closure starting at Taylor Circle, continuing down North 269th to Ruggles. From Ruggles picking back up on North 269th, then turning east on Manderson Street, ending at 267th Circle. The fireworks display would start at approximately 10 p.m. for 15 to 20 minutes, Also, we would like to request a rain date of July 6th in the event of any storms. And then the second request is community parade, street closure starting at Taylor Circle, continuing down North 269th to Ruggles, from Ruggles picking back up on North 269th, then turning east on Manderson, ending at 267th Circle. Parade would be held from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Rich, is Rich here? No? Okay. Do you guys have any questions? I know this is something we've done in previous years. Obviously, the fireworks display on July 5th is a separate request because of the fact it falls outside of our dates we allow fireworks.
I think it's great. I'll make a motion in support of that.
Both of them.
Second.
Okay, vote please. All in favor? All right, number 12, Ginger Cove Block Party, Martha Walker. Consideration approval to close Island Circle, house number 7 to 17 on Saturday, June 21st, 2025 from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. for a luau theme block party. Is Martha here? Do you have anything else to say?
I really don't. It's really for the safety of the kids. We want to close it, so.
Okay, anybody have questions?
I think it's great. Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, vote please. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, number 13, we have some proclamations this month. So our first proclamation is International Building Safety Month. All right, May 2025, whereas the safety of the buildings we occupy daily is essential to the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the world. And whereas the world's most fundamental laws are those providing safety standards for the construction of buildings in which people live, work, and play. And whereas for construction codes to be effective and enforced, understanding and cooperation must exist between code officials and the people they serve. And whereas through the efforts of code officials worldwide and their cooperative relationship with the construction industry, the administration of these health and life safety standards is assured. And whereas units of government across the world, along with such prestigious organizations as International Code Council, Nebraska Code Officials Association, and Board of Engineers and Architects are joining to promote the use of building and construction codes today through the observation of International Building Safety Month. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Cindy Grove, Mayor of the City of Valley, along with my fellow council members, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2025, International Building Safety Month. I urge all citizens to participate in International Building Safety Month activities to promote building safety, to create awareness as to the importance of construction and building codes, and to spotlight the role of the dedicated code official in administering these codes. Thank you, Rune, and your team, Beth, for doing that for us. We appreciate it. All right, the next one is Peace Officer Memorial Day and National Police Week, May 15th and May 11th through 17. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas the members of the Valley Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of all citizens in the city of Valley, and whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibility, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas the Valley Police Department has grown to be a modern and scientific law enforcement agency which unceasingly provides a vital public service. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Cindy Grove, Mayor of the City of Valley, along with my fellow council members, do hereby proclaim the week of May 11th through the 17th, 2025, Peace Officers Memorial Day and National Police Week. I encourage everyone to join in commemorating law enforcement officers past and present who by their faithful and loyal protection have rendered a dedicated service to their communities and publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers in our community and communities across the nation. So Chief and all your officers, thank you all for being here, for everything you do. All right, last but not least, we have proclamation for Mental Health Month 2025, Look Around and Look Within. Whereas the area that someone lives in plays a significant role in their overall health and well-being, and whereas surroundings can impact if, how, and when a person's needs are met, which in turn affects mental health, whereas having safe, stable, and healthy home conditions set the foundation for achieving and maintaining good mental health, and whereas with early and effective interventions, those individuals with mental health conditions can recover and lead full, productive lives, and whereas each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizen share the burden of mental health problems and has a responsibility to promote mental health wellness and support prevention efforts. Now therefore, I, Cindy Grove, Mayor of the City of Valley, do hereby proclaim May 2025 as Mental Health Month in the City of Valley. As the mayor, I also call upon the citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools in the City of Valley to recommit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health, the steps our citizens can take to protect their mental health, and the need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental health conditions. Chief, also thank you. I know you are conducting a mental health awareness training that I will talk about in the upcoming items. So thank you to all of you and your team. Okay, the next up we do have Police Chief Martinez to recognize several of your officers.
Hi, good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council members, and members of the community. I'm Chief Martinez. One of my greatest privileges of being the Chief of Police is honoring and recognizing my officers when they do some pretty outstanding things. And my guys are out doing some really great things for the community as well as for the counties. So the first person I'm going to recognize is going to be Officer Brandon Adams. Officer Brandon Adams was selected for the Mothers Against Drunk Driving Hero Award, which is in the individual category, which just goes to show his professionalism and his knowledge in DUI investigations. So he is by far my resident expert on DUIs, and he really gets it done when we're out doing patrols and looking for those folks under the influence of alcohol. So I'm just going to read a recognition real quick for him, and then we'll congratulate him, and we'll go from there. Subject recognition to Officer Brandon Adams, 2025 Mad Hero Award recipient. It is with great pride and admiration that I announce that Officer Brandon Adams has been selected as a recipient of the 2025 Mothers Against Drunk Driving Hero Award individual category. This prestigious national award is presented annually to law enforcement officers who have demonstrated outstanding commitment and leadership in the fight against impaired driving. Officer Adams has distinguished himself through exemplary DUI enforcement efforts, public education, and unwavering dedication to protecting our roads and saving lives. His work has directly contributed to a measurable reduction in alcohol-related crashes in our community. Officer Adams' recognition by Mothers Against Drunk Driving is a testament not only to his individual professionalism and diligence, but also to his shared commitment of our department to public safety and community well-being. Officer Adams will be presented his award on May 20th in Lincoln. So please join me in congratulating Officer Adams for this prestigious award.
Thank you, Officer Adams.
So the next one we're going to have Officer Wellman, front and center, please, sir. So Officer Wellman is being recognized this evening for his great work in putting together the Valley's participation in the University of Nebraska Omaha Job Fair. So we set up a booth over at the job fair and we got some folks to come by, stop by, and see what Valley is all about. That's really what it was a recruitment effort for us to try and get candidates, and we got 9 candidates out of that thing, and that's saying a lot because everybody wants to go to OPD or the big agencies and make that big money. So to get 9 folks to come over and talk to us and show interest is a big deal, and it all goes to his dedication and getting all that together. So I'm just going to read a certificate of appreciation for Officer Wellman. Certificate of appreciation presented to Jeffrey Wellman for your dedication and contribution to the department. In recognition of your outstanding leadership and initiative in organizing the Valley Police Department's participation in the 2025 University of Omaha Job Fair, your efforts not only showcase the professionalism and dedication of our department, but also strengthen community outreach and inspired future public servants. Your commitment to excellence and collaboration is sincerely appreciated. Thank you for your dedication, service, and the positive impact you continue to have on the department. So thank you.
Thank you, Officer Woolman.
All right, and the last one, certainly not least, Officer Kelly, front and center, please. So this one hits a little bit close to home. This is a great story. And talking with Officer Kelly, as you can see, he is not the kind to garner notoriety. And that's the true detail of a cop right there. Is not, they don't do it for this, right? This is not what we do it for. And getting him to just be here today was a struggle. I basically had to tell him you're coming. So, and that's just a testament to who Austin is. Very humble, and to him, he was just doing his job. But I can tell you, to the family of this young man, it was way more than that. So on May 1st, Officer Kelly was on regular patrol when he came across a car parked on the side of the road over by the railroad overpass. And it was just a normal, if you want to call it a normal stop, just to check to make sure hazards were on. And he makes contact with the gentleman, or the young gentleman in the car. And come to find out, this young man was in the middle of a mental health crisis. And his intention was to end his life by jumping off of the bridge. And Austin Kelly intervened and got the right people on scene to get him the help that he needed. He was taken to Emmanuel, and that's where he was processed in and getting the help that he needs. So he is directly responsible for saving that young man's life. And it's a great testament, and it's great that we're in the middle of Mental Health Week, because it really puts an exclamation point on why mental health is so important for that we talk to people. The mayor is going to talk about our mental health training later, but I wanted to read this and really tell Austin how proud I am of him and what a great job he did. Certificate of appreciation presented to Austin Kelly for your exemplary dedication to the community, your exceptional diligence, compassion, and decisive action while on routine patrol on May 1st, 2025. Officer Kelly observed a vehicle on the roadside with hazard lights activated. Demonstrating initiative and care, Officer Kelly stopped and discovered a juvenile experiencing a severe mental health crisis and intending to end his life. Officer Kelly quickly called for a mental health expert to respond and stayed with the juvenile until the co-responder arrived on scene. Your calm, professional, and empathetic response not only prevented a tragedy, but exemplified the highest standard of law enforcement. Your actions reflected great credit upon yourself, Valley Police Department, and the policing profession. This certificate is presented with sincere appreciation for your commitment to the safety and well-being of all members of the community. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thanks, Officer Kelly. All right, number 15 is ordinance number 837, amendment to section 31.22 of the City of Valley Municipal Code related to the responsibilities of the Public Works Superintendent. So this, we did find out there was just an error when we were updating the code, and they didn't have the right Public Works Superintendent responsibilities. It was more geared towards the Water Superintendent. So we just need to ensure that the right responsibilities that we had passed last year sometime are updated. So just a cleanup item. Does anybody have any questions about it?
Where's the old one? Is the old one on the record right now on the website?
Yes.
In municipal codes?
So if you want the old one, we'd have to go back to the one before that.
It's the one on the municipal codes right now, right?
Nope, that's the one that's in error that discusses Water Superintendent instead of Public Works Superintendent.
That's the current one.
Well, it's what's currently in code, but it was not intended to be there because we do not have a Water Superintendent because we have People Service. So it's just they put the water superintendent information underneath public works superintendent in error.
We're not just catching that error? Or-
Correct.
I thought I read that it says Public Works Superintendent in the current one.
The title does, yes, and if you
Yeah.
read the verbiage of it, it talks about water superintendent. This ordinance with the description was passed last year, do you remember?
A couple years ago. But the backstory is, it never got into the ordinance was passed, it never got into the old code, which means it didn't make it into the new code. So it was just an oversight, and it's just carried through, but the header in the new code talks about public works superintendent, but the verbiage is the water superintendent, which, like Cindy said, we don't have, we have public, people service doing the water.
I make a motion to make this change, approve this.
Okay, John has made a motion to introduce ordinance number 837 on the first reading. Is there a second?
Yeah, I can second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second introducing ordinance 837 on the first reading. Is there any other discussion? Okay. Christie, will you read the short title, please?
Ordinance number 837, an ordinance of the City of Valley, Nebraska, repealing section 31.22 of the Valley Municipal Code, an ordinance adopting revised section 31.22 Public Works Superintendent, relating to the responsibilities of the Public Works Superintendent, providing for an effective date of this ordinance, providing for a severability clause, and providing for the repeal of all ordinances in conflict therewith.
Okay, vote please. 3 in favor, or 3 against, 1 in favor. Okay. So then we won't have job description of a public works superintendent? Okay. All right then.
Can we talk about that as a council?
Yeah.
Do you not want to update the job description to the
I
current?
just look concerned that it's just kind of getting caught now after 1 or 2 years, whatever it is. So I need some more information.
Okay.
To be sure.
Andrea Griffin, City Attorney's Office. I can relay what I know of what happened here. Christy can kind of maybe fill in. So we had passed an ordinance a couple years ago where we articulated the job duties of the Public Works Superintendent. And that ordinance, for whatever reason, was not sent to, who did our ordinances before?
Municipal Code Services.
Municipal Code Services, which was the company who was in charge of integrating new ordinance language into our municipal code. So that did not happen. So when American Legal was retained to update our code at the end of, well, actually it was middle of last year when Mr. Patak was here, our city administrator, he had retained American Legal to update our city code generally to be in compliance with current state statute and to make sure that it mirrored the things that we had passed in the, in prior ordinances, prior years. Because it never had made it into the code when American Legal had it, or when Municipal Code Services had it. When the switch was made with American Legal, it just, the error just carried through, and so the language that's in there is just mistakenly, the heading is Public Works Superintendent, and then the language is for Water Superintendent, which once again, we don't have, as we don't have, we have People Service that handles the water. So all this is doing is it's codifying something that was passed by council years ago, and it articulates what the duties of the Public Works Superintendent are and what they have been for years and years. It's just codifying it into our code. So that's kind of the history as I know it, and happy to answer any specific questions you may have. But in light of, you know, the fact that we're looking to hire a new Public Works Superintendent, appoint a new Public Works Superintendent, I think it's important that our code is consistent with the job description of that individual and of that department. So.
So to be clear, this was passed a while back, it just didn't get included. Is that correct?
It was passed in 2021.
In 21.
Yep, was this exact same language that you're seeing here.
Okay. Thank you.
And just for reference, the process when we pass an ordinance is the city clerk or designated person sends it to whomever our code service is to incorporate into the code. That was a previous city clerk. I can't answer to why. She may have made an error, or maybe they made an error. She sent it, it didn't get in there, but that's neither here nor there. We still have to be able to conduct business of the city, but like Andrea said, it was passed in 2021. It just missed getting in the actual online code.
So council, to me, it seems pretty logical to put this into code.
Yeah, I could probably grab some questions if you want to put on the next month, that's fine.
I'm happy to do that. I would just remind this council that the next agenda item is the appointment of the public works director. So, but happy to follow up with you whenever you wish.
Thank you.
Okay, so just to clarify, if someone is wanting to change our code, you would need to send those through the city administrator and the clerk and the council to discuss. So if you want to bring this back up next time, that would be just your opportunity to discuss what changes you would like to see to our current code. Well, what was intended to be the current code.
Linda, do you have questions on that? You would have been on council in 21. You have questions on
Well,
that?
I do have a question about removing the part. There was a part in there about the council approval, and you're taking that out. So the council has no longer approval?
No, that's not taken out at all. It's not at all. It's still in the code. It's at the beginning of the section. This ordinance 837 is the exact verbiage of what you passed in August or whenever of 2021 when you were on city council. So you would have voted for it then, or at least I assume that you did. So none of that was removed.
Okay, if that's not removed, I don't have a problem. It looked like that was being removed, and I would have a problem if the council was not
Well, we wouldn't,
deemed to give the approval of.
we wouldn't have the appointment as the next agenda item if we had removed that from the code, right? We wouldn't need it if we had removed
You would
it,
think, yeah.
but the internet isn't working, otherwise I would show you.
Yeah, I
Do
know.
you have
It's
it
not working.
to come up which codified section that verbiage is in?
Yes, so, 3115 in the new code talks about appointment of officers. And it talks about how the mayor can appoint with the advice and consent of the council, city administrator, city clerk, city engineer, city attorney, city police chief, and public works superintendent, and water superintendent if we have one. We don't. So that hasn't changed. We're not
All right.
touching 3115.
All right,
This strictly pertains to the duties of the public works superintendent.
okay. Then I could change it to a yes.
Okay, so make that motion again. Jake, do you want to second that again?
I think to make a motion to reconsider, it has to be somebody that voted in the majority against it, probably, okay? Did you hear me? I think to reconsider it, the motion has to be made by somebody that voted in the majority against it last time.
I make a motion that we reconsider ordinance number 837.
I second that.
I still need more time. I just want to ask some questions with some documentation that I found, so.
Okay, what are your questions?
I would like to have like the document so that I can send it over to the clerk and the administrator, so.
So again, our next item is going to be appointing a superintendent. So you would like to not do that tonight either?
I'm just talking about ordinance number 837 in the revised version. There's some verbiage that is a conflict to me that I need to get more answers on. So as of now, I guess it's either it's a no or I abstain.
There's a motion.
So
Okay, so there's a motion and a second.
To
Vote
reconsider.
to reconsider. Vote, please. 2 in favor, 2 against. I will break the tie and I will vote to approve this,
The reconsideration.
to approve the reconsideration.
Now you gotta do the motion again.
Okay, so someone like to make a motion to approve ordinance 837.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 837.
Second.
Vote please. 2 in favor, 2 against. I will break the tie and vote in support of that. Is there a desire to suspend the rules and pass the ordinance on the second and third readings?
So,
Second.
Vote please. 2 in favor, 2 against. I am also in favor of that. So ordinance 837 passes on the second and third readings. Thank you. Okay, number 16, Public Works Superintendent consent to the appointment of the Public Works Superintendent of Mitch Moling. Entertain a motion to approve the appointment.
Linda, did you have a chance to visit?
I did visit with him earlier.
Great.
When the interview process took place, who was involved in the interview process?
Cameron and myself. Yes, as codified, the city administrator is the personnel director and the interview processes are conducted by us. As Andrea just mentioned, the council approves a consent to the appointment. They are not involved per our code in the interview and hiring process. It is internal functions.
Did you have any feedback, Linda?
He seems like a nice gentleman. I mean, I can't really say in 15 minutes I can make a determination about somebody. I mean,
Well,
he seems like a very nice person.
Well, I would say that we need to hire people based on their qualifications, not that I don't think you're a nice individual, Mitch,
Yeah.
but we need to be looking at their
Well,
qualifications.
yeah,
and their
I looked at his
personality.
qualifications, what was submitted to us.
Linda, based on your conversation, do you think he's qualified?
I believe so.
I'd make a motion to appoint.
I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet.
Neither have I. East West Community Schools had their graduation this weekend, so full swamp. I would like to do an extension so that I can at least meet with them. We can even do a special meeting if we want to appoint to make it speeded up, but I just need some time this week to meet with them.
Okay, and we did give the same opportunities, as they left in the voicemails and the memos. It's a very quick process when you're hiring somebody and there's other jobs involved and other positions. So you all were given the opportunity, the same amount of opportunity that we had since offering the position to meet with him or ask any questions, and Linda was the only one who did that, so.
I appreciate that. You did give me the voicemail on Friday mid-afternoon. Again, it's graduation. You can ask any senior mom in our community.
Yep.
So I have the ability to do that exactly this Thursday. I'm off work and Friday, so we can do a special meeting on Tuesday and finalize it.
We unfortunately can't do a special meeting that quickly, and the council, the time frame unfortunately doesn't get to stop because other life happens. We do have to all go by that to continue doing our city operations. So, again, we are asking for the consent to the appointment, and I would ask for a motion to approve.
John made
John made the motion.
Based on Linda having a chance to do that and her saying he's qualified.
Just one thing that you guys need to know, I did ask him a question. I asked him how he envisioned the job to go. And he did not, he said that he would not sit behind a desk all the time, that he understands our maintenance guys department is short-staffed right now. And if it requires him to get on a mower to go mow, or to go weed whack, or he even said to go pick up trash, he is willing to do that. In my opinion, if he's willing to do that, I will give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay,
Is there a second to the motion?
so there's a motion on the table. Second, vote please.
I'm gonna abstain from voting.
I will
Just
also
'cause I haven't talked to him.
So abstaining is when there's a conflict of interest. You would either need to vote yes or no unless you have a conflict of interest.
Do we not legally have the right to just not vote? Isn't that what
They
I
can
abstain?
abstain.
I abstain not to vote. I don't have an opinion.
Okay, so then, it's not really what the abstaining is for. Do you?
No, I agree. You want to pull that up, Andrea? We should pull that quick section up and we'll get you a real answer.
Okay, so we have 2 in favor, 2 have abstained, and so then I will be the tiebreaker and I will vote yes to approve the appointment. So congratulations, Mitch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mitch.
Okay, number 17, library, consideration and approval of interlocal agreement with the Douglas County, Nebraska, Douglas County Libraries and the City of Valley, resolution number 2025-10.
Jeff Farnham, City Attorney's Office. We sent some stuff out to you. I apologize for it being late. There was one change to the agreement that I wanted to discuss with the Deputy Douglas County Attorney that sent this over. I haven't been able to get a hold of her. That if you've looked at this stuff, this is an agreement that we've had, 2 of them that go for 7 years. And it provides that any resident of Douglas County can use any library. And there's a calculation that they do, and we get a tax amount. I had Sammy do a little memo, and there's an attachment to that memo that Sammy did that shows that from 2002 to 2024, we received $245,000. So it's really kind of a no-brainer. It's the same agreement that we've entered into in 2011 and 2018. It goes for 7 years. Sammy couldn't be here tonight, but she would recommend that we go ahead with signing the agreement. The issue that I have with the language relates to insurance, and the agreement that was submitted calls for limits of $1 million per person and $5 million per occurrence. We actually have $5 million per person and $5 million per occurrence. There's a line in there that gives the county the ability to raise our limits, which is unnecessary, and it's inconsistent with some other things in the agreement. So consider that change made. I'm going to take that out, okay? Even though I haven't talked to the gal, I just can't imagine that won't be acceptable, and I don't want it in there. So otherwise, it's the same agreement that we've executed. It's the same agreement that the other libraries that are involved in this execute in order to get their monies from the county too. So.
Okay, do we have any questions for Jeff?
Appreciate Sammy doing that.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve resolution 2025-10, which is the approval of the interlocal agreement with Douglas County, Nebraska, Douglas County Libraries and the City of Valley.
I take it the things that are in red are the changes?
They're the changes, yeah, Jake, yes.
All right, any other questions?
So moved.
I kind of have an issue with, until we get the correct verbiage, I don't think we should pass it, Jeff.
Well, I'm saying that's the correct verbiage. You're passing it without that verbiage in there. I'm taking it out.
I understand you are, but you're taking it out, but we don't have them agreeing to taking it out yet.
I'm pretty
I
sure.
know you think they will.
We could lay it over till next month if you want. That'd be fine.
I think it'd be better.
It starts July 1st. I don't think there's any problem, but. if
I think it would be better. We
that's
want the correct version.
Okay,
That's what we need to vote on.
well, you are voting on it, but it's not agreed to. That's your point. I understand. That's
Yeah.
fine. So you can lay it over.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to approve. If there's,
I will also be abstaining my vote on this because things were added to this agenda item less than 24 hours prior to this meeting.
okay, well, we have a motion on the table that we don't even know what we're voting on yet, so let's start with that. So we have a motion on the table, and if there's no second, that will die for lack of second. Then, if I'm hearing you correctly, Linda, you would like to make a motion to table it.
Correct.
Then let's
I
make
make that motion.
Okay, would anyone like to second that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, vote please. And you're abstaining on tabling, even though
Yes.
we're not talking about it.
But still, it's an agenda item that had things added to it less than 24 hours to the meeting, so.
Yes, and you got information as to why. So there was 2 in favor, 1 against, 1 abstain, and so I will break the tie and agree with laying, well, I don't have to break the tie, sorry, it's majority, just kidding. Okay. All right, Valley Police Department, consideration and approval of interlocal agreement with Douglas Sarpy Mutual Aid, Resolution 2025-12.
Andrea Griffin, City Attorney's Office. This is a mutual aid interlocal agreement with all sorts of law enforcement agencies around the Douglas County, Sarpy County area. This sort of interlocal agreement is authorized by the Interlocal Agreement Act, and in addition specifically by Section 29215, Nebraska statute that talks about how different agencies are authorized to enter into such interlocal agreements to provide mutual aid amongst themselves, and to kind of provide the specifics of that. And that is what this agreement does. I'm happy to answer any specific questions you may have.
The only thing changed this year was to add Boys Town or update Boys Town, is that correct?
That's my understanding. Yep, and it's a 5-year, it goes into effect upon the last agency to sign, which my understanding is us.
That's
And
correct.
then it is in place for 5 years after that. Obviously, if new agencies come around, things might get updated, but as of right now, that's what this agreement does.
Is there any questions? Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve resolution 2025-12, which is the interlocal agreement with Douglas Sarpy Mutual Aid.
So moved.
Second.
Vote please. All in favor? Thank you. All right, number 19, Mappa Street State Safe Streets for All Memorandum of Understanding, Consideration and Action to adopt the Metropolitan Area Planning Agency Memorandum of Understanding Comprehensive Safety Action Plan. Cameron and Lindsay.
Good evening, council. I'm here with Lindsay from MAPPA. We're here to discuss the MOU for the MAPPA Safe Streets Initiative. The benefit to this MOU is the resources we get from MAPPA to assist with potential grant opportunities. We become a part of a larger cohort in the region that can assist with going after different federal fundings and things like that. We've also received support from MAPPA to do a traffic study for the intersection at the corner of, by the Banks, corner of Banks. And so I brought Lindsay here to give a little bit more detail and background about MAPPA, and hopefully at the end, council will consider us adopting this MOU.
Lindsay Button, Transportation Planner with MAPPA, 2222 Cummings Street in Omaha, Nebraska. So MAPPA is a regional planning agency. We operate in several counties surrounding the Omaha Council Bluffs area, by state, both in Nebraska and Iowa. Today what we're bringing towards for you for consideration is our Comprehensive Safety Action Plan. So this action plan was developed with a federal grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation to develop an action plan to reduce and eliminate fatalities and serious injuries on our roadways. So over the last year, we had a very data-driven process that looked both at historical crash records, using that data to kind of develop predictive mapping on where potential future crashes could occur, so we can be a little more predictive in those focus areas. And then we also did some extensive community outreach and input, including both a survey that went out to all member jurisdictions in the public within this study area, which includes the entirety of Douglas County, the entirety of Sarpy County, as well as the urbanized areas in Iowa, Council Bluffs, Carter Lake, McClellan, and Crescent. So through all of these efforts, we put together this Comprehensive Safety Action Plan. And what the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan does is it outlines several proven traffic safety countermeasures that can be implemented on various roadway segments and intersections, and best practices therein, including cost and benefit analyses for those countermeasures. It also identifies specific high priority safety projects, which you'll see on the handout that I distributed last week or on Monday, that there are at least 4 or 5 specific projects that are highly prioritized in Valley specifically for implementation. And it also includes several actionable policy recommendations and strategies to kind of help guide that reduction in fatalities and serious injuries. So the MOU that we're presenting today is not necessarily a mandatory document. So it's a best practices, and it signs you on to have the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan act as your formal safety action plan, so that if you do decide to pursue federal funding for safety projects that are identified within this plan, then you would be eligible for that funding. It is mostly just having Valley sign on to the commitment to the safest systems approach, alignment with the goals that are expressed in the action plan, commitment to cross-jurisdictional coordination, and formal adoption as the safety action plan. happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
I have some questions on the roundabouts that you have for West Street and Ida Street. That one specifically.
Yep.
Would it be a 2-lane or 1-lane roundabout?
So I believe that it's, and that's on the back of the cut sheet.
It's a single one.
I think it's a single lane. Yeah. I think all of the proposed ones are specifically single lane roundabouts.
Nothing's designed.
No, nothing is designed. These are just best practices, proposals, and suggestions.
We have that study coming up through MAPPA by Dr. Rand. Actually, I'm meeting tomorrow with someone from MAPPA regarding the traffic study in that they will then.
She's talking about the different intersection.
Oh, the one up, on Ida.
She's talking about that one you're talking about.
I was talking about mix.
You're okay. I was just thinking like that one in Ida probably would be like a double lane would probably be more desired, considering the fact if you like drive to Fremont or if you go to Blair, they have a wonderful roundabout that helps with semi trucks for staying on the highway, but also staying inner city.
Right, a single lane roundabout would be good for semis coming in and out of Valmont.
Yeah.
And that's how they're supposed to come in 275 to Ida Street down
For sure.
instead of coming through town.
Is that intersection currently one way in both directions, or is it currently multi-lane?
One lane.
So I think that's what the recommendation is based on. It's based off of current capacity for that intersection. So if there was plan then to expand and widen those roadways, then absolutely a multi-lane roundabout would be the preferred recommendation. As I mentioned, the recommendations in this plan are just that. They are just recommendations. There is no consequence to not doing something that's in this plan. It's mostly just saying that the city of Valley is agreeing that traffic safety is a high priority and using this document kind of as a way to guide future decisions.
On this one, Rune, on that Make Street one, which one is that?
It Meg's in 270.
270, yeah, right by 3M or GC West Fire Station and development.
Was a roundabout suggested?
Yes, so I believe a single lane roundabout was suggested for that intersection as well. However, the study that's being discussed is something that is already funded through a different grant funding program that we have through MAPPA. And that's just to look at the intersection in its entirety. This can be one of those recommendations that are gone into that study as a potential option, but that study is going to look at the intersection, at the traffic volumes that are currently within that intersection. It'll look at it independently of this study.
Is there do you have maybe a few options or suggestions for the certain intersections? Like, I take it the roundabout would be your number one. Do you have number 2 or number 3?
So there are suggestions in here for signal timing as well as things like, what have we got? We've got medians to go in busier roadways. You can put a concrete median between the lanes to kind of prevent that crossover. There are a lot of general best practice recommendations in the plan for intersections specifically, any one of which could be considered for any given intersection that is looking to be resurfaced or redeveloped in some way.
I know a lot of people like those roundabouts. I myself absolutely hate them.
I could see it going one way in the mornings.
Yeah.
It would be a nightmare with the school. The drop off and the pickup.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why the traffic study will take all of that into account.
Yeah.
These were obviously very high level.
Very high level recommendations.
How long, I'm just curious, how long did it take to come up with these recommendations?
So the entire plan was under development for about a year.
A year? Okay.
Jake, last summer, we walked through Valley, looking at sidewalks, safe walking spaces for kids, potential recommendations, HDR was there, and Greg was there, and it was just, we literally walked. Not that Valley's huge, but we walked a lot of street and looked at what's viable options for kids walking to school. Intersections where stop signs, is it visibility, all 4 ways. All that was, part of this process.
Was there any recommendations for the sidewalk along Meg Street there for where that roundabout would be?
I
It's
don't
actually, I don't know if it's from the fire department, but it's the side there on Meg's.
As part of the discussion with the school, they're looking at how our students are going to get to the new field from the school.
Yeah.
So a study's going into figuring out what's going to be the safest route for that. So in the room, I think that's.
Yeah, Jake, so I brought that up when we were there. There's a reason that the sidewalk doesn't continue. And when we were with Napa, I can't remember who I was talking to.
Probably Jim Border.
I think it was Jim. I mentioned, hey, we're considering removing this so we get less traffic to this intersection. And I remember him being like, that's a great idea, because you don't want to encourage foot traffic to a busy intersection, which is where, before you were on, that's where we changed the fire station, and now that sidewalk goes behind, and then it hits Condren and goes over, so that way we're not encouraging people to that intersection. Obviously, the trail's already there, that's a done deal, but that's why that sidewalk, it looks like it's graded for a sidewalk, and there's not one there. There won't ever be one there. So the alternate route is behind the fire station, Condren, and then the developer, as part of their TIF, they are putting in some sort of crosswalk. Greg can speak more on that. I just know that was part of it.
So there'll be a sidewalk added to the existing sidewalk behind the fire department or off Condren.
Correct. You see how it ends now? The
Yeah.
developer is gonna, once they pave everything, they're gonna actually pay to connect to that. Now it just ends, kind of just like open-ended. It will connect to that, to Condren to,
They're paying to cross the road,
Yes.
not even on their property,
correct.
Correct.
That's where we will be able to use TIF to our advantage of,
and that's like in writing.
correct,
Sorry, under contract.
correct.
I'd like to see it,
Who do you want to see?
just that, where it says that,
Who do you want to see the,
that,
there's an exhibit.
That they-
subdivision agreement.
just that they are going to put a sidewalk there.
Sure.
Yeah, is it in the TIF agreement or the subdivision agreement, either
I know
one?
it's a subdivision agreement, and I know there's a plan sheet in the, construction drawing, so there's two spots.
Yeah, this was all previously approved by council and the TIF committee and everything last year before you were on.
All right, well, I appreciate you getting to me.
All right, any other questions for Lindsay?
Thank you, Lindsay.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to enter into the memorandum of understanding with MAPPA for the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan.
Make a motion?
Second.
Vote, please. All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, number 20. Human Resources Consultant, consideration and action to retain a human resources consultant. Cameron?
I do, I got some notes on it, but I can actually.
So in your council package, you have the results of outreach to 3 local firms that handle HR services. The recommendation that came out of the results from those firms was Cardinal, not to be confused with any Cardinal you've heard in previous council meetings. So the benefits of this, without having to go into too much detail, is to create that level of separation that employees have in times of disagreement, where they can reach out to HR, have them investigate situations, and then come back to myself and then later to the council with a level, with a recommendation. And also, higher retention has been something that we've struggled with in the last, year or so, getting quality employees and being able to maintain them. And having this firm will give us the opportunity to cast wider nets, have better, recruitment tactics, and have someone that has the bandwidth to really go after, the quality employees that we're looking for at different times. This is, the contract with this firm will be one where it's time and material. So it's not like they're on payroll for 40 hours a week. It's almost like a retainer. When we have HR needs, we'll work with you, et cetera. And so all of them were pretty, pricey. Some had a la carte situations where you could pick and choose what you want. But what was beneficial with Cardinal was that though a smaller firm, they had the resources to handle everything in-house. The other firms, they were serving 1,000 or more different municipalities, and the local touch would possibly be missing. And so for council consideration, if you don't have any other questions, we'd like to move forward with Cardinal as our independent HR consultant.
So Cameron, to be clear, we would retain, the city would retain, control of all the HR functions. You would just be, the city would just be leaning on them for what I think you said, recruiting, as well as retention, as well as in issues where there may be an applicant issue that is outside either your expertise or the city's expertise, as opposed to maybe Mr. Blag, so this would be an alternate to Mr. Blag.
Well, it's an added benefit because a lot of HR services, when it comes to grievances, et cetera, go to legal when they can be handled at a lower level. Resolutions can be found, and it's an independent party. That's one of the benefits, and probably what we'll say from not having to go straight to legal will probably pay for, the services from the HR firm.
Is there any other municipalities that use Cardinal HR?
Municipalities that use them, in their proposal, they outline places they work for. I think even
I didn't see it.
so go back to the Cardinal here in 1 second. Under their overview and location, Cardinal actually did highlight their experience in depth. However, Cardinal was used to help update our municipal code. No, our employee handbook, my apologies, employee handbook.
Okay.
Not municipal code, that's not.
And is this, the Cardinal HR, is it just one person?
No, she has a small staff.
Is it, I see it was about 2023, is that right? This one was one, or the 2023 Cardinal HR?
What's the question? I'm sorry.
When Cardinal was formed,
I thought I read 2023, but I could be wrong.
I can't confirm or deny that right now. I don't have it in front of me.
Well,
So at the present time, she doesn't represent any other municipalities, is that correct?
No, I'm not saying she doesn't represent them. I'm just saying I can't list them off.
Yeah, we can go back and ask her.
Definitely something.
And this year's budget included this, like was looking at for somebody to include in HR? Or was there budget items for HR? Services?
There wasn't budgeted items for HR services, but in light of some of the issues we're having with employee relations, it was deemed necessary to have some level of separation.
Right, and I mean, just to clarify again, we're transferring some of the costs that we're currently paying to our attorneys and to external attorneys for these complex issues to where an HR consultant would be able to handle them. So therefore, we're just transferring the money we're currently paying to a different, more specialized group.
Have we ever considered hiring say a part-time HR person for in-house?
That wasn't in consideration because then we would have to look at having a job description for them, but then also with that comes benefits, et cetera, of having an employee versus a consultant that is kind of time and material. And quite frankly, we don't have space for it.
Well, we don't have space, and I don't think, and I know Jeff and Andrea can attest to this, it goes in cycles. I mean, there'll be some weeks where we wouldn't have enough work to support an HR person or that we have anything to bring up to anybody. And then there's weeks that we do. So I don't think we could support even a part-time HR employee at this time.
So Cardinal, do they have a line? Just kind of walk me through how, if somebody has an issue, an employee,
Well, what we're
do they have options can they submit something online?
So
Is there a line or?
So what we're looking to establish in light of issues we've had with some other issues we've had, we're looking to have a 1-800 number or an email that you can go to voice these grievances. Once those are received, she'll be the point person for investigation. And it gives that level of, immunity to people to be able to voice concerns without fear of retaliation. So
And then who do they would directly report to?
they would direct the consultant?
Yeah.
They would directly report to me as the HR director.
They won't be an employee, so they don't report to anyone. They would work for the city.
So if they received a grievance, they did their investigation, they would come to you and probably Cindy with the replies, and then you guys take it from there, correct?
Correct. But again, it might have, if at the end, the person that has the grievance decides that they didn't like the outcome of it, we have the documentation, we have the confidential process to where it kind of develops that paper trail for us.
What, you said there were other HR companies. I'm just, so you said you picked Cardinal because they were smaller. You felt you could get more one-on-one for the city. Usually when we do stuff like this and it goes out for bids or whatever, the council makes that decision.
It didn't go out to bid because the contracted amount is below the amount. So at the rate that we'll probably end up paying them, it'll be under the threshold of what we'll need to do a public procurement for. So we reached out to 3. These were the 3. Now, we can have one firm that they're global, but they're housed in Omaha, but it's $3,500 a month, regardless of how much we use them or how little we use them. Or we can go with the other firm, Zell was a close second. They're comparable in price. They're all in that $3,000, $3,500 range. And so it came down to what are we getting for our needs and what fits our needs the best.
I know these folks charging hourly.
It's outlined that a couple have hourly rates, and that's to the level of $145 an hour for a senior accountant, $185 for the controller and human resources director. And so that was from.
Well, it says here, Cardinal HR will provide professional human resources leadership and support at a bill rate of $125 per hour.
That's correct.
And the other 2 are more expensive, which is part of the reason why Cameron's recommending Cardinal out of the 3.
Well, I think I'd like a little bit more time to think about this one. I don't disagree we should have it, but I just would like some more information or talk to persons like Cardinal HR and the other ones. This just might be.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other questions? Okay, with that, I would entertain a motion to approve Cardinal HR as an HR consultant for the city.
Second.
A motion needs to be made.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Melanie, a second? Okay, vote please. Okay, 3 against, 1 in favor. Thank you, Cameron. Okay. Number 21, Corin Maine, consideration and action to upgrade the water meter reading program. Cameron.
Again, the concept was detailed in the council packet, what we're looking to do. 2 points of reference I'd like everyone to pay attention to is having the ability to have real-time access to water usage. Also being able to not have to manually read water meters every month. Also, with this upgrade, it gives the citizens more power in their water consumption and how they handle their usage. Also, with our new meters that we're looking to upgrade with, we'll also be able to turn off water down to a trickle for people that travel and are away for a while. But also in the event that there's a water break or something like that in your home, we're able to catch that date versus 30 days later. And so all these benefits are part of this overhaul we're kind of undertaking with Public Works to kind of get our system up to date. And Fremont uses it, Plattsmouth uses it, a lot of municipalities use it.
Cameron, does this also help the instances we have where we have duplexes that have 2 meters but 1 water line, and so we can't shut them off when one side of the duplex doesn't pay?
Correct. We have the ability to adjust water flow during unexpected move-outs, shut-offs, or in the event where we have properties that take advantage of having 1 water line going into 2 duplexes or 2 homes. One person doesn't pay, we can't turn that person's water off because it impacts the other person. So it gives us another tool in our arsenal to be, proactive and also be able to give the best service we can with our water services.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Cameron?
I do have some questions if you don't mind. What is our current software that we use for billing on water? What's it called?
Our current software, Kendra, we have our,
It's AccuFund. Okay, and then do these water meters integrate with AccuFund?
they currently do, yes.
Okay, and then how much does one water meter cost?
One of the new water meters that, about what, $560?
Yeah.
$560.
Just over $500.
$560. Who approves that cost when a new water meter is put in?
When a new water meter is put in, it's
Like on a home?
Depends on the situation. If it's a new construction, the homeowner does or the construction company. If something breaks and it's our fault or whatever happens, we consume it, right?
Yes.
Right? Kendra, you're both nodding.
Current ordinance is when you build a home, it's the builder or the homeowner's responsibility to come in to purchase that particular meter. If a meter freezes, then it's the homeowner's issue because they're negligent. If the meter malfunctions because of mechanical or computer or whatever else, then the city replaces that one.
And then I just have a question about this bid that you presented. It's dated as of August 19th, 2024. How long is this bid good for?
the bid that it initially started then. So we had to have a propagation study. And that study I've mentioned in other council meetings, it was at no charge to us, but it dictated how many receptors or how much the antenna could reach. And so you have to do that because you put one antenna up, you need a second one. You didn't budget for it. And having a study done in the event that this tower, which won't happen because it has the capability of capturing up to 25,000 more residents, but the antenna was the piece that took the longest to get studied and brings us to current date. So as of last week, the bid we had that was in the package is still current.
Okay, I just had some concerns because it says in here that there's a 3% annual increase and we're just 3 months away from that and we're gonna approve it now. So I'd like to kind of see what this actually will cost us in the next 3 months.
It wouldn't be installed in the next 2 months.
It would be.
So once we do the contract, we're locked in for what the contract amount says.
I guess another question, just kind of, it's water. So are we still giving people a 3,000 gallon allowance anymore? No? Okay. And then I guess my concern is there has been some mumbling about like just the cost of their water bills. I know some families have had to make decisions on paying like that $500 bill is what it's jumped to when it was $100. And if their meter was frozen and they're required for this cost, they're possibly looking at least one water bill. It'll be $1,060. I don't know, it's just a cause of concern for me that I just want to make sure our citizens know there's a possibility you will see a bill from us for that much.
Well, so the question is, we're apples and oranges. This update will give people more accurate bills, more accurate readings, but this upgrade isn't going to be tacked on to their monthly bill. It's not an add-on like,
So let me ask a question to understand what your question is. So a meter freezing and who pays for it would be the same if we don't upgrade or if we do upgrade. So how does that relate to the core and main upgrade potential?
It's just a level of concern that our citizens, or some of them, could face a bill for $1,060. And the quality of what's being received, I mean, it's just, the concern is the fact that, like, so are you saying in your recent just statement, there's a possibility that our billing isn't accurate? Because you said it would be more accurate billing?
more accurate reading of the meters, because be it this month or next month, if the meter is read a month later, it's still gonna update with the accurate number. Am I stating that right?
Yes, what he's alluding to is this is real time, 24 hours a day. To where the current process is, we go once a month and read every meter. We don't know what they're doing the other 29 days. So what he means by accuracy is that the homeowner has access to this, plus so does the city, that they can see minute by minute what is actually happening. So if a toilet's leaking, you can set an alarm on there for high usage, and then you'll be notified of that. So the public has more control over their water as well. So it's more accurate to the reading of the meter and the access to read that meter is what you're alluding to.
And so I think, I mean, your concern with us not, like helping the residents not have high bills, this is exactly what this will do. Because just like they said, today, if we read on the 30th and your toilet starts leaking on the 2nd, you're not gonna know until 28 days later. So now you have to pay for that entire month of your toilet leaking. We are proposing with this system, they'll know on the second day and be able to fix it so that they will not incur a very high bill because nobody knew that their toilet or whatever was leaking. So, I mean, I agree, we want to help the residents, and that's exactly what we're doing here. I think we're saying the same thing, that that's what we want. Yes, ma'am.
So I have a question. The meters that people have today in their home, my meter, will it work with this new antenna thing?
They'll work because they're AMI meters. They're not the newest model. They have capability of casting a signal through broadband connection.
Okay, so I don't have to replace my meter. And I'm going to get the correct actual reading as to these people with the newer meter. It's all gonna be the same?
I have not been in the details with this particular one, but normally, yes.
Yes, because the meter.
You have an up-to-date meter. There's many different technologies that can receive that signal. He's using one of those technologies. Compared to us taking a tablet once a month and driving around and getting that signal, his antenna receives that signal 24 hours a day. Does that make sense?
This should lessen your bill then.
I don't, as long as you're proactive, yes.
No, I'm talking people's service bill.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a different conversation.
I was referring to people's service.
Question about the meter?
No, I'm sorry, this isn't time for public comments.
Have we already tested this meter with AccuFund?
The meter is not what comes into AccuFund. It's the same integration. The software that we use from Census to where the meters is, all of that just imports into AccuFund. So there's no change to that. It is, the only change is how we are actually.
But in like the way that, like, sorry, I'm just trying to understand it. So you put a new meter in, it reads better, you can drive by, you can snag that data, and then it will go into AccuFund, it integrates.
No, that's what we do today.
When it reads a meter, it goes into a census.
Okay.
That collects the data, then it's put into your billing,
And then
whatever
AccuFund.
billing program
Okay.
that you have. It integrates with many different ones.
So what we're looking, these meters that we're looking at now, is any of them in place right now in the city of Valley?
Yes.
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 Yeah, we're,
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
antenna that we're looking for. It's not
Oh, antenna.
not the meters.
Correct, not the meters, it's, yes.
Going forward.
So, Mike, so The meters, the newer meters, the $560.40 meters. The meter that we installed in Linda's house, that's not one of those.
No, it isn't.
Correct. However.
About the same
we'll-
price though.
Right, but we'll still be able to get the same functionality with that meter as we would if, let's say, a freeze happens and someone needs to purchase the newer one. We're gonna be able to do the same functionality with both meters, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
I'm gonna say yes.
Yes.
Once again.
That was part of the
Right,
plan.
we don't, you're not required to
Yes, we do
buy.
know.
Well, I don't wanna-
saying,
I don't wanna-
you're answering, it doesn't sound
I don't want to muddy up the conversation. The question was asked, if we did this upgrade, would we have to integrate every meter we have? And I was told no. And so the plan was newer meters,
Core and Main told you no?
Core and Main told me no. Going forward, any meter we put in, we have the ability to go with a higher grade meter going forward.
So if my meter broke tomorrow, I would probably get the new higher grade one.
That one, you probably get the
As long
same
as
one
we
you have.
approve this.
Okay, so I guess just to simplify my question again, sorry, I need an answer to this. So the newer meter, do we have it anywhere in Valley right now in anyone's home? This
No.
one.
Not the one that he's proposing. The one that he's proposing with this upgrade has an automatic valve. in it.
Okay,
So then she can push a button and that valve is shut,
okay.
right? We don't currently have that. We have to physically go, people service has to physically go and turn that off.
Is there a possibility,
That was a joke.
is there a possibility that we could get one, test it for 30 days and see how it works on her end and then make sure it all works?
We have to have the antenna first.
Okay.
The antenna is the piece that we're upgrading. The meters we have will work with this antenna. We cannot read them in this manner real time until we get the antenna. It
It's
is the antenna.
So the
that is-
automatic shut off only works on the new meters, though.
the
It
automatic-
won't work on my meter.
Correct.
So I can get an alert saying that I got a leak, and then you guys can't shut it off, so I have to get it figured out quick.
Correct.
Okay.
But that's what the whole point of the new meter with the automatic shut off is then.
Right, but I don't wanna spend $560 for the new meter.
Well, you wouldn't if it was a meter upgrade done by the city. You would not pay for that first meter. That would be part of the meter upgrade. That's
Oh,
what
the
he's trying to
city would pay for
discuss.
that?
This is what he's trying to
This is what
discuss.
we're trying to get approved here.
Right, that's what we're trying to improve is the entire meter upgrade.
And so, and lastly, what we're paying for is we're paying for an antenna, we're paying for an update in system, computer system that has capability of giving real-time
Not
information
necessarily.
Okay, so
That's
the
what we get.
approval is just the antenna and the system.
in the system. All installation plus, technical support, guarantee on the antenna that if it doesn't work, it's not on us because we did the propagation study. So that's that one-time fee to get it started, and then we pay a maintenance fee with our current system.
Will that make your billing more accurate and your life and job more easier?
I think being able to have access to when somebody does call and get a bill and say, why is my bill so astronomically high? There's no way I use 26,000 gallons versus this system, I can get an alert and go, you're out of your norm and you're at 12,000 gallons already. Something's going on. We can stop that right away and then keep us for a potential audit for, is it leaking? Is it not leaking? And now you have to get somebody to pay to come look. The concept of the system alone is super exciting for me just because it does give you guys so much more data and so much more accuracy to those readings. So there isn't a question at that point.
I'll give you an example of how easy it's gonna be for her, okay?
I don't know about this one.
Yeah, I'm sure, go
I'm
ahead.
not endorsing it.
If somebody calls and currently and says, why is my bill so high? Well, we have to go out and collect that data, which now takes time, so the homeowner's upset, questioning it, it could take 24, 48 hours for us to go gather that data, physically come back and say, well, at 5 AM, you used 3,000 gallons every single day for this particular month, why? Right? Then she has to go back, she has to communicate to them. When they make the phone call with this new system, she just pushes, good, there it is. And then I believe that the homeowner can also look at this on their own.
Yes.
They would have access to it on their
Yeah, they have
phone?
a portal that they can go in and also compare it. So the information is just much more real for everybody involved.
Okay,
So without the new meter, we can still shut it off though, right?
You can't shut it off without the new meter. It has to be manually shut off.
Which would be the same process.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's a little bit more transparent. The homeowner can see the exact same readings that the city is saying.
Exactly. Exactly, and they don't have to go and try to find their meter, to look at the number, to decide.
Well, I'm
what
not
is
gonna
the-
find my meter, it's underneath the crawl space.
You know, some people
The
can get to
worst.
it, some people can't, you know, yeah, it's just
Keep
super,
doing it.
it is super, super exciting.
Is there another way, is it, sorry, I'm just trying to think of like another thing. So what if, never mind, no, it's fine. I was just thinking of people like who aren't tech savvy.
Sure.
Can they come to you and get a printout?
100%.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because not everyone likes to use phones and apps
Yeah.
and stuff
None of
like that.
none of that's gonna change.
They can always call, come in, stop in, email me, absolutely.
On the, is there any way to alert the residents that, hey, these 20 days, you're already up to like $75 worth on your bill?
I didn't get information that granular. It's more inclined to catching
It'll,
the toilet overflowing or catching a water.
it'll go by the consumption, Jake, because the billing part is done in AccuFund based on the readings. So the census system is what is going to have the consumption. So you're gonna have to know roughly what your average consumption is. And then if it gets high, you're gonna know that your bill is gonna be higher. So. All right, is there any other questions for anyone? Okay, if not, I would ask for a motion to approve the core and main upgrade to the meter reading program.
I just have one more question. On is it easy for the unpaid, say water bills to be run to the next month so we can see how much is unpaid in water?
For each resident or just water in general?
I guess for each resident.
Each resident, I mean, we know who's not paying their.
As far as like, for like a shut-off bill, or can you elaborate a little bit for me?
Yeah, just like, if it didn't pay the garbage bill, then that garbage company will say, hey, you didn't pay your bill for a month. Then they can run a report and say, hey,
Oh,
these people.
sure. I mean, that would be something that I would do within the billing system, but that wouldn't have anything to do with the antenna that we're putting up. That's purely for just consumption meter reading, not actual bill payment.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's easy to run.
Yeah, I can grab those reports anytime.
Okay.
Yeah, takes me a little bit, but
All right. Sounds good.
All right, any other questions? All right, I would again ask for a motion to approve the upgrade to the meter reading program.
I'll make the motion.
Second. And I hope this works.
Vote please. All in favor, thank you. All right, number 22, Shouses barndominiums, consideration and approval to amend existing section of the City of Valley zoning regulations relating to Shouses barndominiums.
Okay, I'm gonna be quick. So if you guys remember last time, we discussed number 19, there was some public comment about the 1.5 time limited on residential, and maybe it should be expanded to transitional ag. So I looked, I couldn't really find anything specific regarding the multiplier. So just shooting from the hip, I went 5 times larger. Then we also added a note. In my research, I came across the barn/living space fire that happened in Bennington, where someone lost their life because they built their apartment above a barn, from what I gathered, which had hay and everything else, which is kind of the consideration of the next part of this, where any use other than a garage shall require a commercial permit. That way we don't have someone, their house, living quarters are right here, and they've got 10 bales of hay stacked right across 6 inches from their head on the drywall. That's special consideration needs to be taken for that. That's just a life safety thing. So that's where that other section came from. So, any questions?
Okay, any questions for Lynn? All right, I will open the public hearing. Is there any comments from the public?
have a question.
Come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm never in the room. I live at 1105 Southeast Street. I just have a question on, are we proposing that we can build those kind of things in Valley?
Room, can you talk about which zoning areas these are in? I'm sorry, I forgot.
Correct, they're all residential and they're all conditional use. So they don't get approved right away. They still have to go through planning and council. They have to show what structure they're putting up, and it has to pass through planning and council.
Any other public comments? All right, we'll close the public.
Are you saying that you have to put
If you
a fire structure in?
come up to the podium, please state your name and address for the record.
Are you saying that you have to put a fire structure in between the wall?
Potentially, if it's required, yeah.
Is that, you say if it's required, so you don't know?
I'm sorry, can you come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please?
Royak,
And address.
27280 State Street.
Thank you. Christy, you got that?
So, it depends. So the way I have it written in there is if that use is used for anything else in the garage, then it's considered a commercial structure. So that commercial plan review is done through a third party called Shums Coda, because for exact reasons like this. Residential plans, I can review them all day. Commercial have very unique uses, and when it comes to tying residential living with commercial uses, things can get really tricky. So yes, there is a chance that if you're over the certain amount, it'd have to be sprinklered. It's all life safety based on the commercial code.
Okay, so maybe I'm confused on the commercial, but are you meaning commercial like a business is in there or like?
No, the
So could it be
use,
ag?
sure, the use would
Is that
just
what
be
you're saying?
considered commercial in the code. So code and zoning are two different things. When I say commercial use, I mean we're in the IBC, not the IRC. That's the International Building Code, which handles industrial, commercial, storage, everything that's not just residential.
Okay.
So that's what that means. So the building, if the use is still allowed in transitional ag, that's fine. It's just, I'm gonna make whoever puts it in, go through this third-party inspector, Shums Coda. If you're too large and a sprinkler system's required, like they will review per the code and make sure that it's compliant to the quote-unquote commercial code, the IBC, International Building Code, not the International Residential Code. That's what that means.
And that's compared to what other people have done, like other counties or whatever?
No, that's just basic code enforcement, just based on uses. So the residential code covers residential uses. If you're building a structure that has residential uses and also commercial uses, it needs to run through the IBC. That's just basic code. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else from the public? All right, we'll close the public hearing. Is there any other questions from the council? Okay, if not, I would entertain a motion to approve to introduce ordinance number 836 on the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second introducing ordinance 836 on the first reading. Christy, can you read the short title, please?
Ordinance number 836, an ordinance to amend existing sections of the City of Valley zoning regulations relating to houses, also known as barndominiums, providing for an effective date of this ordinance, providing for a severability clause, and providing for the repeal of all other ordinances in conflict herewith.
Okay, vote please. All in favor? Is there a desire to suspend the rules and pass the ordinance on the second and third readings? Was that a second?
Yes, I did.
Okay, vote please. All in favor? Ordinance 836 is passed on the second and third readings. All right, annual audit report, Catherine?
Good evening, Catherine Demas Nadu, Creative Planning, 12925 Dodge Street in Omaha. I represent the consulting group that helped with the city team, and I appreciate all the work that they did to put this audit together for you guys. I do not represent Bland and Associates, who provided the opinion for the audit that we are talking about today. So you have a new set of financial reports in front of you, and I realize what's keeping you guys from getting home, so I'll speak as fast as I can. But you do have a new set of audit financial reports in front of you guys. You're now presenting your data in your report in two different vantage points, and I'm going to talk about them in just a second. So in 1995, GASB 34 was set out, and cities and municipalities were required to adopt it. You guys now have adopted GASB 34. Welcome to 1995. So what that is it moved you from a cash basis. So it's very easy to be a cash basis, cash in, cash out. And so you guys always reported on the cash basis of reporting. So if you remember, your report 2 years ago was much smaller. Now your report is basically government financial audit report. And so the two statements that you look inside your audit, you'll see are incorporating two different horizons. And in order to adopt both these financial reports and these standards, it took a little bit of time. So that's why we're here in front of you on May and not in March. So it just took time to do this. So inside of your government financial reporting model, what it gives you is the ability to achieve a fiscal accountability. The responsibility of governments to justify that their actions in the current period have complied with public decisions concerning the raising and spending of public money in the short term, usually one budget cycle, and prepared using current financial resource measurement is what we call our government financial fund statements. And then our government-wide financial statements use separate columns to distinguish governmental activities from business activities, and they're prepared using the economic resources and measurement focus and using accrual basis of accounting. In those statements, the government funds are converted from our one measurement of focus into another measurement. And I know this is really boring for you guys, but this is kind of cool for you guys to be able to see. So turning into the audit report, I just want to say that you received the highest opinion that you could receive. So you received a clean opinion. Okay, so that's great. Highest opinion ever. If you look at page 6 in your audit report, you'll see that the first report we have for you is called the government-wide. It shows 2 columns and then a total column. It shows you government activities in the first column, your business type activities, which is your nursing home and your water and utilities fund, and then your total in the far right-hand column. What's different on this report is that we're now incorporating historic information, right? So we're picking up capital assets in the governmental activities fund that you've never done before. In order to do that, there was a lot of work that went through by the staff to come up with the valuations and the historic values of the capital assets to bring them onto the books of the government-wide activities here. The other thing that's on your statement that you haven't had before is the liability. This shows the obligations of the cities in the long term. What is bringing us here is just a better picture of what the total obligations are for the city of Valley. And that's just the first report on page 6. We call that in the government-wide statement of net position. When you turn to page 7, this is an income statement that we're really familiar with, statement of activities. Again, it's on the government-wide statement. So we're going to incorporate into here accrual. So we're going to pick up revenues that are measurable and reportable into the 9/30 date, and expenses that were measurable and reportable into there also. When you turn to page 8 of the financial statement, now we're on the fund statement. And here you see your 5 funds, including the Keno fund that we've talked about tonight, the TIF fund that we've talked about tonight, and your general fund is on here. What's not included in this picture here is the long term. You're going to see the short term, but not your long-term assets. So there's no fixed assets recorded here. When you're looking at liabilities, you're not going to see the bond payments that are out into the future. This is showing us on a modified accrual, not cash, basis of what's in each of the individual funds, what's your short-term need for your funds, what are they giving you today. At the bottom of the statement is a reconciliation to get you from page 7 to page 8. And so we do this reconciliation so that people can see that. When you turn to page 9, now you have your funds on your income statement that we're used to looking at. And as you flow through that, again, it's on the modified accrual basis. What's not going to be in there is the long-term debt and long-term receivables that are available. There is one item that I want to draw your attention to, is at the bottom again, is another reconciliation to get you from page 7 to page 9, so that you can see that the reports tie out in their entirety. In your audit report, you also have the single audit, SEFA, as somebody brought up earlier today, the Schedule of Federal Expenditures and Awards. You also received a clean opinion on your SEFA this year, and everything was unmodified on that. And that is your schedule of federal funds that you received. The audit itself has notes, and I'm not going to go into them and read them because you guys are highly educated and can read them. There are supplemental information that shows you the actual cash to your budget reports that are in the back, and that's where you get back to how our books are kept, which is on the cash basis. So in summary, this is quite a feat for you guys. And so I'd like to say congratulations, and I'm very happy that Mayor Cindy and the staff, Cameron, Lori, Christy, and everybody included our firm in helping you get to this position of financial audit report. And with that, I will be quiet.
Does anybody have any questions for Catherine?
Thank you.
Catherine, thank you, Lori. Lots of work you guys did. Okay, building and zoning, Rue? What do you have for us today?
Yeah, that.
So just want to reiterate, I know we talked about it before, it's a lot of discussion today regarding timing of information. Just a reminder, all of building and zoning stuff goes through planning first. So bare minimum, you guys have 3 weeks of anything. I can't think of anything that would not go through planning first with me. As always, there's a question about a plat, a road, anything, just give me a call, come to my office, shoot me an email. Just wanted to reiterate, you guys minimum have a 3 week, and in some cases, there's pre-construction meetings that 2 of you, again, can't violate the Meetings Act, but 2 of you are involved in as well. So just want to reiterate that. Anything on planning, you guys have questions on regarding my stuff, you got a 3 week head start for council. So the other thing to mention, we've got potentially, Valley has ever since I've been here and before had 2 subdivisions going at the same time. There's a good chance we're in preliminary plat on 2 of them, so I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse, but there's a good chance that we'll have 4 or 5 going on simultaneously here in the next year or 2 or 3. If I'm just doing plan review and I'm just doing inspections, Beth and I can handle that workload. It's going to come down to some of the other responsibilities that fall under my plate that we could potentially look at contracting out, one of which is code compliance. Currently, you guys know this, I've never been shy or hidden about this. Complaints currently are done on a per complaint basis. Someone sends in the complaint to me and we write them a letter, we follow up how we should to the best of our ability. Then it goes over to police, and then it goes to Douglas County's judicial system, and that's really out of our hands. So Christy went to a clerk's meeting, gosh, a month ago at this point, probably. And there's a couple of small jurisdictions, I can't remember the one's name, but it's out south of Fremont. And they wanted to have a more comprehensive plan for like their nuisance ordinance compliance. So they worked with a company called Signal, who every Sunday they drive through. I've met with them now twice. This is nothing official. This is just discussion. If you guys want to pursue this, we'd have to go through the RFP process because it'd be a larger number. Essentially, they would drive through. They have body cameras. A lot of them are police officers, ex-police officers. They've got a little Signal Bronco that drives around. If they see a violation, the process that we have potentially figured out is they have our boilerplate nuisance letter, which I've already created. They handle reaching out to the customer, the person who has the complaint. They follow up in a week. They track all of that. If the complaint isn't fixed or an extension form isn't done, then it gets sent to Bobby. Bobby then can give the misdemeanor or whatever the citation is. But it just takes a lot of tracking and following up on Beth and I's end, where we can just say, hey, we got a complaint for X, Y, and Z. We send it to Signal. If anyone has a question on where this complaint is at, they can call them. I think 24 hours a day, if not definitely 12 hours a day. Hey, where's my complaint? We just sent the letter 2 days ago. Again, that number that they gave me was $3,000 a month, so $36,000 a year for this. Again, this is loose. This isn't official. I'm working on my budget for next year. Including that number, I'm still 90-ish grand in the green, including this 36,000. Again, that's a rough estimate for my budget. It's not final. So I just kind of wanted to let you guys know if this is something you want me to pursue. If not, again, as we get busier, I can only do so much. I can only be in so many places at so many times. Last council meeting, a constituent brought up these temporary signs, and it kind of just got my brain moving of, okay, how can we better serve the community? And on a per complaint basis, it's just, inevitably I get the answer, what about my neighbor? What about this person? What about that person? This would kind of just do it all at once. We sent out 30 letters. This is they're being followed up, and then we just, and Bobby's not here. Bobby, he was also included in the early on meeting with them regarding citations, and then they would essentially send him an email every week saying, hey, cite these 3 people. Here's our proof. Here's the photo. Here's the certified mail. Here's the body cam footage of us handing the person the letter. Again, just take something off my plate. So just kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts, questions. Do you want me to pursue this? Yeah.
I think you should definitely pursue it as an option for us to weigh as council. I think it's just smart because the alternative, hiring another person in your capacity, doesn't make sense if there's a cheaper alternative that's going to be more consistent. So I think it's worth pursuing to then bring a full detailed recommendation to council.
Yeah, and like I said, I can do an RFP. I don't know, this is a pretty unique service that this person is providing, so certainly going to try and get other bids. I don't honestly know if I can even find someone else, but obviously I'll reach out, do my best if you guys want me to pursue something like this. So any questions on it? I mean, again, I'm pretty far in the weeds already with it, so. Yeah, literally weeds. Okay.
Thanks, Ron.
Yep.
City Administrator, Cameron?
I provided basic different bullet points and I'll be.
Okay, thank you. People service, Mike?
Mike Adair, 207 East Conner Street, Valley, Nebraska. A couple updates, water meters. In the last 2 months, we've been able to do 64 full replacements. That does not include getting the MXUs and some numbers straightened out and doing all of that. That's a day-to-day operation every single day. A lot of these meters were required in the evening and weekends because we have to meet the public's schedule. So that's a big number for us, and the difficulties it is to actually schedule that and get that done, on top of making sure that all the MXUs are still working and dealing with her emails that she sends out 90 times a day.
They're fantastic, don't let them tease you.
We did read more meters. We do read more meters every single month as we make these improvements. So we're getting better and more accurate with those reads. So all that's good news. We had 10 calls last month for discolored water. We were able to address all 10 of them, and also gave us more data, so we're able to focus our attention on where we need to focus it on. So we're coming up with some plans to be proactive in those areas where we get these complaints. So that's more people are starting to call in and report their discolored water, which is a more benefit for us because then we can map this out and we can see where our problems are. So that's extremely positive too. Today, obviously, there was an issue. I don't know if all of you, I'm sure everybody knows because of our wonderful social media, but we were reactive to every single call, chasing it around. Yeah, lucky you. Chasing it around, and we finally found it on West and Whittingham, I do believe, where we had to flush a hydrant for about an hour to get that sediment out of there. We don't know why it happened. We can't track down the hammer or the water main break or something. But at the same time, we had a fire hydrant get hit out of Ginger Cove, so we had to respond to that and get that fixed as well. So it was a very busy day, but we were able to resolve that according to the people that did communicate to us in person. So.
Any questions for Mike?
I know you don't supposedly look at social media. Tonight, before I came up here, there was a posting regarding Blue Water resident now getting the brown water. But also it was brought up that they're using fire hydrants out there to fill their pools.
Correct.
How are you billing them?
They have a meter. They come up and they get a meter and they put it on the fire hydrant. We take the before and after and then they get charged. But I am currently working on some kind of process to mitigate that a little bit better. Because a couple of those things that we saw, and once again, I will not comment on social media whatsoever, but there were some comments made by some people that saw some things of people filling hot tubs and stuff from a fire hydrant. And I wish Mike was still here because he could contest to this. But when you first open up a fire hydrant, sediment settles in the fire hydrant itself. And you always get that first burst of discarded water out of every fire hydrant. This is common. Well, when they connect and they go to fill their hot tub, they don't flush that hydrant first. So they get that first burst of dark water. We'll put all the water you want in it. That first burst is still dark. It's still gonna look bad. So I'm trying to mitigate this a little bit, working with Cameron and trying to come up with a plan that we can mitigate filling pools to a more convenient.
So the resident comes up, gets the meter.
Yes.
Puts it on the fire hydrant.
Yes.
And they can open up the fire hydrant themselves?
Currently, yes. I'm trying to mitigate that
The
now.
pool company though, isn't it?
Yeah, they're pool companies. It isn't just a person, it's a pool company.
The pool company or the contractor is doing it.
Yeah, and there's a few of those, quite a few fill them out of their garden hose. So, it's just a few of them, but we are currently looking at that as this became an issue this time around. So we are looking to protect the fire hydrant, but also protect the system because that obviously causes a charge on the system and pulls water that way. It'll disturb the mains, as our mains are so sensitive right now in town.
Question based off your expertise. So I know that when you flush a hydrant, it just kind of stirs magnesium and all that stuff up, and that's normal. And then it's gonna obviously kick up some brown and dark water in your home. And we always say, like, just go ahead and flush it for a little bit and it's gonna clear out, and it does. In your professionalism, how long should they run that water to clear it out?
Depends on the length of their service line and the size of their line. Every house is a little bit different. If you have a 40-foot line compared to an 80-foot line, it's gonna take longer for that 80-foot line to flush than that 40. We always say 15 to 25 minutes.
On the outside of your house.
What?
Outside of your house, not like turning your faucet on inside, on the outside of your house.
Like run your hose outside, like your hose faucet for 15 minutes?
What she's referring to is, there have been times that we have found people that have discolored water to be a problem inside their home, not the actual main, okay? Because there's three components here. You have the water main, you have the service line, then you have the house, okay? Well, those three components, any one of those could be causing that problem. So when we do recommend flushing, use your outside spigots. Number one is get more volume. Number two is most of the time plumbing for an outside spigot comes right after the meter. It doesn't go through water softeners, hot water heaters. It doesn't go through anything. It's a pure right from there. So, and that's how we do some of our investigations too, is we'll pull water from the outside spigot. And if it's clear, the problem's inside your house. Because obviously it doesn't come from the main, right?
So if they run it, you said
Can I say
average,
something about this?
No
If you-
public comments right now.
if you flush it
I don't want to
for
talk to you, Mike, after this.
for 15, 20 minutes. Just constant running water for 15, 20 minutes. How many gallons do you think that is?
That's hard to speculate. I mean, no comment.
Well, what we're charging
It's
people
tough.
right now for their water bills.
It's minuscule to that. I mean, it's a couple hundred gallons.
Okay, but just to be clear, the sewer is what is high. Water is like $20 a month. So it's the sewer that's high. I think that there's a misconception.
There is a misconception of that I do try to correct. A lot is our sewer rate went up because Fremont went up. We just changed our billing schedule for the water. You're really paying no more for your water. It's the sewer that makes the difference.
Okay.
If you actually look at your bill, you'll see that.
Yes, your water bill's like $22 a month, while your sewer's base is $42.
But back to your question, I mean, if you got a 1-inch service line to a 3/4-inch service line, all that differs, right? So I really can't say how many gallons that is. And it could take 5 minutes, and if after 25, 30 minutes it doesn't clear, then you make the phone call, because now we know that it is not in your system. Now we know it's actually coming from the main, because if we go open up the main, like you said before, that causes a disturbance, right? And a lot of times we won't capture that whole disturbance. So now we're being reactive, and we're going to this house because they made a phone call. Then we're going down the street to this house because they made a phone call. So it's a very sensitive time right now with the mains that the way that they are. We are being proactive. We are looking at options to help mitigate this problem until a final solution can be solved.
Do you think, just in your own professional opinion, ethically, since we're having to have them flush for so much, that there just should be some type of gallon allowance in there?
That'd
If
be
it's
up to you
outside
guys.
of their ability?
That'd be up to you guys. I live in Valley, so, I just consider it, that's up to you guys. I'm not gonna make an opinion on that, because I'll get slaughtered. So I'm not gonna do it. Sorry.
No, you're okay.
I do have a question for you, Mike. Do you know, do you have a bunch of experience with like AC pod liners?
Like what?
Like liners, where you run them through a water pipe and it adheres to the existing pipe?
I've done lining. That'd be a good question for Mr. Smart Pants here, but, I have done lining in sewer lines, but never in water. I'm assuming it's the same thing.
I don't know. I've only had experience on the sewer side.
Yeah, we do, line sewer lines that way, but I've never heard of running a liner in a water main.
Yeah, if there was an option like that, do you think it would help or no?
It'd be very difficult, because a water main is totally different than a sewer main. It's pressurized, number one, and you have a lot of service lines that are much smaller than in a sewer line. So the technical part of that would be very difficult, because you got a 3/4-inch hole compared to a 4-inch hole that you gotta, after you sleeve it, you gotta go and do that. So I don't know how cost effective that would even be. You'd be better off replacing it.
Okay.
If that existed. That's if that existed.
Sure.
Any other questions for Mike? Any other questions for Mike? No?
Oh, yes, I do. I don't know if you're responsible for this, but I'll ask you. So like on the concrete repair, are you responsible?
No.
Okay. I won't ask you then.
Thank you.
City engineer, Greg.
Yeah, he'll have to.
Maybe Greg is responsible.
Dylan Buchanan, I'm subject, hold steady on that topic for me. First item tonight, then we have the water treatment plant expansion. I think one thing I will say before the next meeting, I'll try to get you some pictures in the packet, because you actually see some activity going on. They've completed the first concrete pour, I think about 10 days ago, and they're actually second one on the floor is planned for either Friday. I think it's actually planned for this Friday. Now, they had it initially scheduled for next Monday. And that'll be the second pour of the 3 pours that they're doing on the floor. And also, while they've already finished the first one, they're already setting forms for the walls, so that they're starting to come up. If you drive by, you actually can't see it, because they're still down in the hole. So that's the need for probably getting you guys some pictures, and you guys can see what's kind of going on. So the drone's always good for that. So, but tonight we do have contractor's recommendation for payment number 4 in the amount of $72,524.25. And having reviewed that, we do recommend approval, and that I believe is about 7% overall of the contract value.
Okay, I need a motion to approve resolution 2025-13, which is contractor's application for payment number 4 in the amount of $72,524.25 to Erickson Construction.
Want to make a motion?
Second.
Vote please. All in favor?
Thank you. Then item number B, this one has been on the agenda or we've been monitoring for quite some time. We've actually had really good progress here in the last month. So Belhaven number 2 lift station, that's the one next to the nursing home, and also Ginger Woods number 2 lift station. This is done by Verba Construction. They've actually gotten the work pretty much done on the Belhaven one, and actually since the time of this pay app, they actually have completed most of the Ginger Woods number 2 lift station work as well, and they're down to getting the controls integrated and a power outage to switch connections for old system to new system. That's actually going to occur next Monday as well. So tonight we have a progress payment again of $79,915.50 to Verba Construction. Having reviewed that, we do recommend approval, and that's just over 52% of their contract value.
I'm going to entertain a motion to approve resolution 2025-14 to approve contractor's application for payment number 3 in the amount of $79,950.50 to Verba Construction.
Motion.
Second.
Vote please. All in favor?
Item C then is Ginger Cove Bridge repainting. This is JM Restoration Services. They have completed the steel repainting of the underside of this bridge structure. It's something was monitored over the last couple bridge inspections by Douglas County that we have an interlocal agreement with. JM has completed this work, and actually as of last Wednesday got all of the scaffolding in the Skinny River Canal. I think that's right, Lauren, right? For nomenclature has been opened up. So we do appreciate Ginger Cove's residents' patience here. And this was obviously sensitive as the bridge or the boating season is just starting, but we did meet really our deadline in the contract was to get this opened up prior to Memorial Day. So we are fulfilling that, and they've gotten that done. So we were very happy with that. So having reviewed this is their first payment and final payment. So it's $101,242. That's in their bid amount as well. So there was no cost change to this contract, and we do recommend approval of that.
Okay, I entertain a motion to approve resolution number 2025-15, approval of contractor's application for payment number 1 in the amount of $101,242,000 to JEM Restoration Services, Inc.
Make a motion.
Second.
Vote please. All in favor?
Item D then is FY 2025 street projects, one we've been working on for the last few months. We have received bids that will be coming up in a second. But this project is basically paving. It's a city budgeted project that was budgeted last October, I guess, or effective in October of the city budget year. And this is paving Park Street from Whittingham up to the park, and also Platt Street from Gardner up to Valley Street, which were 2 segments of existing gravel roadways. And there still is one more in town. But 2? Oh yeah, 2. But I was specifically talking to Mrs. Lewis. But basically our code under 5.30 minimum design standards has a minimum pavement width of 28 feet, which is our city design standard. Basically, we are asking, is our recommendation for the city council to waive that to be 24 feet. And the reason because this is platted back in the 1927s. The existing right of way in some cases is only 27 feet wide. So we'd have to go and acquire property to build the street. So we're saying we'll just build a 24-foot wide street to provide the access for these residents on Park Street. There's basically 7 houses on the west side, and I don't believe there's any driveways on the east side. Those are all north-south. And then again, over on Platt Street, the right of way's 30 feet wide or 28 feet wide. Again, it's narrow, so we can't even physically fit a 28-foot wide street in there. So we just find it appropriate for city council to waive this, and for those said reasons. Ms. Lewis.
Park Street though, it's gonna be going to the park.
Yes.
Aren't they using that for another entrance in and out of the park?
Yeah, we can. But the part right there is paved, part of it is paved, right up to the park is paved.
So what I'm saying though is like the residents that live on Park Street, they're not gonna be able to park on the street.
Sure.
Because I mean, to get like a fire truck or something through there. So you're gonna have to have no parking signs put up.
I mean, the existing gravel is more like 18 to 20.
I
So just to put that in
understand.
context, I don't know how many of these residents park on the street itself right now. So I don't see that really changing too much of the condition.
Okay,
And then the connection into the parkland also is just 25 feet. So we're gonna match it and just blend it. We'll lose the 1 foot, but, and then part of the motion to waive is the 24 feet, the 12-foot lane still is in compliance with the state minimum classification of boards standards. So we are conflicting with the state. We're just waiving our own local jurisdictional rule under 5.30.
okay.
So will that street have a curb?
Yes, it does.
It will?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so you said it was roughly about 18 feet?
I mean-
And the existing on gravel?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it varies. It's 18 and 20 and flares out to 22. You know how gravel just meanders. So yeah. So it's a little bit wider than what you'll see right now, but not much.
And was there any consideration for like a speed bump around there or anything? Or no?
Which section, I guess?
Park Street.
Park Street, no, from a standpoint of really Whittingham's a dead end, kind of, there's not really any through traffic here, and then again, there's only 7 houses on this.
Okay. And on Platt?
That's just the 1 block connection, so no, it's really, you got the right turn there at Gardner, and it tees up to Valley Street, and it's got a stop sign already right there, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions for Greg? All right, I would entertain a motion to waive section 5.30, minimum design standards for minimum pavement width for these 2 sections we're paving.
So moved.
Is that a second?
Second.
Vote please. All in favor?
Thank you about that. Then correspondingly, we did receive bids last Thursday for this project. Actually received 3, 6, 9, 10. Actually, I think it's actually 11. I'm miscounting right now. 11 projects for basically $400,000 project, which is, the market is extremely competitive right now. So To the T Construction is out of Plattsmouth. They were a little bit of $757.40, excuse me. They have worked for us in the past for a different client. They have never done work in Valley. The last project, I think we've done at least 2 projects with them. We haven't had any issues with them. So we are recommending the bid award for them in that set amount.
What's the rough, completion date or how long this work would take?
Sure. Basically, we have it to be September. I can look up the exact, it's the end of the fiscal year in September. I don't remember if we put September 15th or September 30th. But we did notify them that, hang on. It's coming up on item F. Actually, we have the water line stuff in this area that we're looking to replace immediately. So we're going to delay them from starting and don't give them notice to proceed, get the water lines done, and then have them do it. So kind of overall big picture is if we can get the water lines done, that'll be June, July, have them come in August, and 45 days, they should be probably about done with this.
Okay.
So.
Okay, any other questions? All right, I would entertain a motion to award the bid for these 2 sections of the street to the T Construction, the amount of $289,757.40.
So moved.
Vote please. All in favor?
Jake, yeah, good segue then. Item D, this is actually a proposed change order immediately to this contract. Basically, talking with Public Works and also City Administrator, Mr. Gales, is Public Works currently is short-staffed and can't get the water main replacement areas repaired. And so we,
Or yeah, note from the water main, sorry.
Yeah, well, some of them are water mains, I don't know if all actually all, I think 6 areas that I know about are that. So what I had recommended to staff was, hey, we're bidding this, their concrete company can come to town. They proposed this change order amount. This would take care of all of the water main repairs out of 6 areas, plus actually some other areas in town. Basically get a little bit of volume, but it is encourage or include a early mobilization for them to come in here and immediately do it. I will call them again tomorrow and be like, here you go, we got this approved, let's get on the schedule. I'm guessing it's gonna be 2 weeks, but I still have to get a contract.
Start repairing.
I still have to get a contract from them. I have to get bonds, gotta get insurance, so I got some paperwork to get done. So I mean, but it will happen basically probably say before the next council meeting, all the water main stuff, repairs from the winter would all be done and restored. So
Thank God.
So, that's kind of unique when we awarded the contract and turn around and give them a change order and say, come on, do some more work, so. This would, again, we're under budget on the overall for the 2 street projects, but I leave it to these talented staff to know if this is coming out of streets or water main and all that good stuff, so.
Okay, and entertain a motion to approve change order number 1 from To the T Construction LLC for an increase of the amount of $33,600.
So moved.
Vote please. All in favor?
I want them old fixed.
I hear you.
I put
I hear
an
you.
exclamation point behind that one.
Huh?
I put an exclamation point behind that one.
Go ahead.
Item E then, Ms. Lewis, this is your segue, I guess. Swimming pool repairs, this is, from a discussion there in the April meeting, there was basically consensus to get a bid procured from, contractors for the pool maintenance work. Basically did that, got the package immediately out, and we did receive 2 bids from 2 of the contractors that had initially expressed interest in the project. WC Plumbing being the low bid of $113,890. That's replacing all the pipe and the concrete portion of the pool deck that they need to remove to do that work under that contract. So basically in our bid documents, we had that in to be, I should start a calendar, but it's the day after Memorial Day of May 26th. If somebody wants to fact check me, the Tuesday.
That's when they started?
That's what we had told them that would be an anticipated start date. And then we included 27, thank you. But we included 25 working days, 6 weeks of work window. So that would put them to the middle of July. Then subsequently, Public Works would be coming in after the fact and doing the pool coating and the pool startup, which I believe Cameron, I think, told me 3 weeks beyond that. So that would put you closer to August 1st, August 15th, just depending on what exactly happens here, so.
You said July 2nd or 22nd for the completion, roughly?
We would start May 27th was our anticipated start. We included 25 working days, which was 6 weeks, so that would get you right around July 1st. Yeah.
And then 3 weeks of startup before we would have anybody there. So you're saying August 1?
That would be, the 3 weeks would be Public Works for any paint restoration work that needs to be done that they typically do annually anyways as part of the startup, and then getting the pool equipment itself started up as well, correct?
So anticipate August 1 is the first date you could have a swimmer there.
Yep. And I don't remember what day they typically close the pool.
August 10th.
There you go. So really it's up to kind of council discussion here, how this kind of moves forward, but.
Just kind of thinking outside the box here, and I don't know what they call it, but I'm kind of familiar with it, like more of like, say like liquidated damages, where anything above that, in the contract, if there's a completion date, just for example, say if it was $500, they would have to owe the city $500 for every day that wasn't complete beyond that date. And then also making a positive of every day before that completion date, just for an example, $500 that the city would give that contractor.
Sure. Jake, basically we did include a liquidated damage clause in the bidding documents. That was $250 a day. Basically, with a project like this, I would anticipate they are going to find something else that's beyond anybody's know-abouts right now that could or could not need to be repaired. And so it's going to delay and need to be worked out. So I'm guessing we will see some delays potentially, who knows, maybe not. But we included a $250 liquidated damage. We did exclude a bonus clause for an early completion date in the contract.
Okay, they go both ways. So say for instance, they find an issue and someone else has to come in and fix that. The time that they have to sit waiting for that to get completed, they get liquidated damages as well.
No, I mean, basically that would be a change to the construction contract. So there would be an increase of contract price and then probably adjustment to contract time because it's something that's unknown and that's not included in the construction contract right now.
How would this set us up for next year? Like if everything's like replaced, do you think we would?
This is replacing everything that I'm aware of piping wise that is broke right now that's preventing the pool from opening.
When should we check it? Like,
Check what, sorry?
Like recheck it when we want to reopen for next year. Should we start looking at this like in February, March? What's a good time?
You know, that's something I probably would pass over to Public Works, because they're really the ones that operate the pool, I don't, so.
They
But
typically
yeah.
start in January or February. But just keep in mind, this is a short-term solution. This doesn't fix our ADA compliant issues, and it doesn't fix any of the other issues. Like, this is not a permanent pool solution.
No.
This is short-term, so we still would have to determine what we're gonna do with the pool after this season, if we wanna replace and it's an existing location, or replace somewhere else. So this is short-term.
I think to like, say it's like a new pool option, I mean, we'd probably look at a couple of years without a pool, right? If
it's in the same spot.
Yeah.
Sure, it would probably be a 3-year project, I'm guessing, or year planning, if you will, and then probably it all goes back to when you start with the winter construction, but I mean, it's gonna be more than one construction season to get that pool operational. Yep.
So, I mean, the one option, which obviously I know everybody has differing opinions, but if we fixed this pool and kept it for a couple of years and built in a different location, then we could potentially go not have that 3-year gap. I mean, that is one benefit. I know you guys don't like it, but that is one benefit of moving it to a different location, is you do not have that gap. Because it definitely will be closed for multiple years if we rebuild in the same spot.
When we charge people to go into the pool, where do those fees go to?
Operating the pool.
Like it goes towards, the YMCA for paying staff or anything like that?
The pool has its own fund, its own GLs, and so we bring in the money and we pay out the money, whether it's maintenance or people service, there's a management contract or there's maintenance. There's literally one pool GA. Everything goes in and everything comes out. I mean, the pool's not a revenue generating anything. We run at a deficit, as do most cities. I mean, and again, one of the case studies that I know Cameron showed last week, other places that have built new pools and put them in locations that are more visible to other places have actually seen some bit of revenue generating because they have more people coming to it. So, I mean, in theory though, a pool is not a revenue generating. It is an amenity for the community that we have in our park, and it is something we pay for with our tax dollars.
Well, it's not really revenue generating, and we didn't get this started in January. We failed our community, and we're only gonna give them 10 days of it. Should we even charge for those 10 days? We're already net on it.
We probably wouldn't. The other years that we've opened a few weeks ago, we didn't charge. Nobody would have been here that first year. I don't know why I'm looking at any of it.
The Y's not here, but I don't know what we could do for lifeguards for those.
Yeah, I don't know how they would staff it. And they have obviously offered, just like in other years, to allow residents to swim at the Y, even if they're not members of the community to do that. But, yeah, I mean, this is a big chunk of money for 10 days. So we definitely have to keep that in mind when spending our taxpayer dollars if we're gonna do it for a 10-day period. But. Other comments, questions? What do you guys wanna do?
Make a motion to repair the pool.
A second.
To repair it?
Yeah, the existing.
Okay, so we would have to actually award a bid, make a motion, so,
Motion would be to award the bid.
Yeah,
Right.
motion to be,
yeah,
to
so
accept
we
the
would need,
double bid amount to
You
WC Plumbing.
accept the,
would
your
entertain,
recommendation is.
Yeah, to WC Plumbing, a little bit, yep.
yeah, I would entertain a motion to approve the bid for WC Plumbing for $113,890.
So just to be clear, we're going to spend $113,000 plus for 10 days of pool use potentially.
Well, and hopefully all of next season. That's what I'm hoping for. That next year, we're gonna open it Memorial Day weekend and be open for one full season.
How will,
That would be a dream.
how will we make it ADA compliant next year?
That's only when you do new construction though. If you tear the whole thing down and you rebuild it, you have to come up to code to make it ADA approved, correct?
Yes, and also if you do a certain amount of construction on it, Rune, what is the percentage construction that we still have to do that?
That I'm unsure.
Just to clarify, if we do this right now, can we even legally open for 10 days? It's not ADA approved.
I don't-
mean, it's questionable.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't, again, this is, I haven't been looped into this conversation 100%. I did it for my previous job with ADA. If you replace something, it has to be replaced to ADA. That being said, I don't know the exact of, if it's a percentage, like floodplain is a percentage, 50%, right? With ADA, I'm not sure what the triggers are. My assumption would be because it's related to the maintenance, that we are quote unquote grandfathered in, or a non-conforming use is better. I don't know 100% on
I
that.
mean, so much from what I see, we're replacing the pipe and the concrete that goes on top of it.
Right.
And like that mechanical stuff. Mechanical versus how you're getting in and out of the pool is a completely different thing. If we were to replace a wall, now you're required to go to code and get an ADA. Does that kind of seem correct?
So, I mean, I can speak to code specifically, you remove and replace something. If we were like remodeling the bathrooms, they would have to be upgraded to ADA.
Correct.
If you are, like gutting even an existing commercial building, you have to then build everything new to ADA. If you are like replacing the coolers, like at the Dollar General, like, again, I'm not 100% sure what that trigger is with ADA. I don't, Greg, do you know?
Unfortunately, I
I
don't,
think you're gonna be okay.
because I do more of infrastructure with ADA rooms and stuff, not necessarily, with some
Yeah.
community buildings, yeah.
What we do need to keep in mind is that we're publicly saying that we understand that it's not ADA compliant, and we're willing to invest X amount of dollars into something that as soon as one person that requires ADA assistance goes to the pool, then we can't hide behind not knowing. And then that's incurred, and you will incur fines until that's complete.
I think like the approving for the bid going to plumbing, and I could be wrong, but just on my own behalf, I'm okay with doing it if it sets us up to have a more of a full season next year, if we look at it in January. Because right now, we have no plans. We have nothing in writing as to what our plan B is. So this is just gonna be for now, because essentially what a new pool is 2 to 3 years in building. So until we have grounded plans and there's been some actual agreement on what our plan B is, we just need to focus on what's in front of us. And that is fix it, even if it's for 10 days, set us up for next year, and then we will have to start working on an actual plan that we can present to the community. As of right now, there is no plan. It's a lot of what ifs.
Cameron presented the plan two options last
There's a
time, but
couple different options,
yeah.
and, either way, if it's built there or built somewhere else, I need to know which direction to go. Because I can't ask someone to create a schematic design about something that we're not going to entertain, and that's why I haven't wasted, money to come up with plans other than on-site and what's been offered, by someone else, so.
Yeah, and I think, from my perspective, I understand compliance and we might be able to open by compliance, but I do also know that we do have some handicapped individuals in our community, and we are literally saying we are good having an amenity that we know that you cannot use. They cannot get into the pool. If they would like to go swimming, they have to try to get them in through the kiddie pool if they can get up the hill, and they have absolutely no access to the bathrooms. So where my personal opinion stands is that I do not like having to say I'm good with segregating members of our community, legally, compliance-wise or not. I don't personally like to do that. And so that is my standpoint as to why I'm bringing so much focus to it. But if you guys are good with doing that to members of our community, then that is definitely.
So I think the ordinance right now is just.
This is the
agreeing
first time.
To approve a bid.
Yeah,
It's
there's
not
any other
even
time.
ordinance,
Or,
actually.
we're looking to just approve a bid, so that's the focus, is just approve a bid. Sure. So not going too far down the rabbit hole of all the things that can come under the moon. I will second your motion.
There hasn't been a
I
motion
thought you
yet.
made a motion already.
He
Jake did.
No,
He did.
Yeah, I did.
he said he tried to make a motion, but we had to say what that motion actually was, and
Okay.
then John had questions.
Okay.
So I will start over. Jake, did you have more questions?
Yeah, just one question. I guess that's Mr. Farnham here. Does the city of Valley, Nebraska have the legal right to enter a contract for the pool renovations for the Valley City Park?
Sure, if they accept the bid, you bet.
I make a motion.
Hold on a second. We'll start over again. I would entertain a motion to approve a bid to WC Plumbing in the amount of $113,890.
So moved.
Second.
Vote, please. 3 in favor, 1 against. Okay.
Item F, I'm sorry, I actually had these kind of out of order. I should have put this with the street project that we were just talking about. Basically, we're talking with People Service, Mike Adair here. Some of this area has got some of the old water lines in the town, and hearing the constituents is we're proposing to replace the water lines as part of the street project. We just talked about the overall schedule here. Basically, when Doug and I budgeted this back in, started this in August, we were just throwing darts at the dartboard and didn't know which one was gonna stick. So we're asking tonight just to approve a package to get out on the street, which would be ready immediately. And then we'll have the bid opening prior to the next council meeting, have the ordinance and have it with an immediate start. So basically, this would replace about 1,100 feet of water lines that are, I think Mike said they're 80 years old. I can say they're at least pre-1973. That's one of my oldest maps I have in the office, but didn't really dive down the rabbit hole either there. And some of this area has been platted in the 1927s and 30s, but when we were talking about the right-of-way that's here. So this is just, it is an extremely old part of town. So we would replace the mains with it that are impacted as part of the street project. It's just a rough number that we came up with about 10 days ago, is $350,000. Cameron and Lori have already worked on a budget line item that was gonna come out. So we're here tonight to consider and approve an authorization to advertise for bids and then have an immediate bid opening here after the advertisement window.
This was brought up because we're looking for a long-term option to fixing the brown water issue. Now, this may not 100% fix it, but we feel like it's a step in the right direction with the new already being poured out. We also have a federal grant that we applied for through the Congressman's office to do similar work around replacing water lines. We have a letter of support from Fire Chief, President Dodger, the Mayor's office, and we hope to get some support in that way as well to keep moving forward with these water lines.
Anybody have questions?
So this includes the whole town?
No, this is just 1,100 feet, which is the same footprint of the street projects. Yep.
So this means that when we already have the streets tore out, we will start replacing water lines, because replacing the town's water lines, the big piece of it is the concrete tear out and replacement. That is the giant cost.
Well, fortunate for this one, remember it's gravel, so.
Well, right,
we're-
that's
We're
why-
saving a step.
And that's why I'm saying, while we already have the streets open before we concrete them, we would like to replace the water lines. And as we do future street projects, we will build that into it.
And this one's again unique. This is with this 27-foot wide right away. Typically, we have the mains on one side of the street or the other, behind the curbs, not necessarily in there. We don't have room for that option. And right along the property lines anyways, right now, they're the overhead power poles. So it's like, when we're trying to fit everything in here, there's no other place to put this water line except under the street, unless we're going to acquire easements from all these property owners.
Any other questions? All right, I would entertain a motion to authorize advertisement for bids for water main replacements for Park Street and Platt Street.
So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Explanation.
All in favor?
Just a couple general miscellaneous updates is basically Valley Lakes Business Park and also Valley Landing, both of those projects, the contractors have mobilized and commenced construction activities. They've kind of gotten off to a slower start this spring than we had hoped, but they both are on site now as of today, or basically last week, both folks. So those will be ongoing, and we have other just miscellaneous stuff we're working on with planning commission and development stuff that's going on with the city staff. So any questions for me? Happy to answer them. Thank you.
City Attorney, thanks, Greg.
Jeff Farnham, City Attorney. So, good segue about the development projects. The old Flatwater Estates, I think this is the third name, is now Champion Shores, right?
Yes.
Is that it? They're gonna be submitting their preliminary plat to planning later this month. Andrea and I will be working on a schedule. They're gonna have a TIF request. So if you remember for Catalina, there's a whole bunch of steps we have to do with the blighted and substandard and the CDA and the council. And so we'll talk to Mr. Beller and work out a schedule, and at next month's meeting, we'll go over that schedule with you. We have some things to work through with the zoning because they want to have some commercial zoning there. It's the same issue out at Glass Lake where we have residential, lakeside residential, and then a commercial area. I'm sure we'll be able to do that. We just have to figure out how to do it. Glass Lake, the Douglas County Planning, you'll recall, we asked the county to cede jurisdiction of the western 115 acres approximately, so that the development would all be within Valley's jurisdiction. We've had several spirited meetings at the Douglas County Planning about this. They recommended approval of ceding jurisdiction, but they want to put some conditions on it that would be similar to the conditions that were contained in the interlocal agreement when this was previously done in 2007, and then the plat was vacated in 2017. I haven't seen that. Usually that's something that's done at the county board level, not at planning level. So the next meeting is the 21st of this month. It's not a public hearing, and I would imagine that they'll forward their recommendation then to the Douglas County Board with the recommendations, perhaps even with a draft of an interlocal agreement, which we'll see, and then it will get on the agenda when all that occurs at the Douglas County Board. And then I've talked to Mr. Job, and they can't really proceed with anything until we know what the situation is with the jurisdiction, and we'll have to go through, and then we will come to you with the interlocal agreement that they propose and we work out, because you'll have to approve that. So that's the status of that. Just to segue, Jake, you asked about the Glass Lake bill. When we work on these subdivisions, at the end of the whole thing, like we did with Catalina, we've done with everybody, all of our time is charged to the developer, okay? The developer ends up, we're paid while we do the work. The city funds the payment. But we put that in the subdivision agreement, and then the city is reimbursed for the fees that they pay us. And that is true for all the developments we work on virtually that go through the platting process. The other thing I'll just mention, I had a meeting with Jim Lang, Mr. Melvin Sudbeck's attorney, about something else. And we had a pre-app meeting quite a while ago. When was it? 6 months ago, maybe?
Between 2 and 6 months ago.
Somewhere. It's getting late.
Somewhere in there.
So this is the area, I think, that's roughly across from the Catalina Residential, right? Across the road from Catalina Residential. And it was a fairly large project, and he was saying it's affordable housing. And of course, that number slides forward all the time, it seems. And he indicated that he wanted quite a large TIF request, and that was how he was gonna sort of subsidize the cost of it. I think they're gonna be presenting something again. I just mentioned it. I don't know when, at some point, in connection with, the Champion Shores. We'll have to have a TIF committee meeting and factor all that into our, timing of everything, and so that may be involved in that yet. We don't have an application yet, so that'll be the first thing, is they'll need to get an application. So those are all moving forward, and Couple of little minor matters. We have, we'll be coming forward with a request to vacate a portion of Third Street that Greg talked to me about. And then the school district wants to put a fiber line in from the school to the athletic field in the right of way. And so we'll have some sort of simple right of way agreement about that. Those are things that we haven't done yet, but will be coming up probably in the next 30 days. So any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, mayor's report. Couple different things. The police department in March was selected to participate in a statewide audit of continuing education, but they did receive a good audit on that and they're compliant. So great job, chief, on that. We also recently received our Tree City Award again for this year. We have been a Tree City since 1994. We missed a year or two, unfortunately, but we have it again this year, so that is good. Find my other things. We will be opening the new pickleball courts on Friday, so that is very exciting. The rest of the park phase 1 is very near completion. We have to replace an electrical panel and put some fencing around the pit meter, but we will be able to open the new pickleball courts without lights on Friday. So we will send that notice out. Everyone is very excited to use that. And then I know we've talked a lot about water and meters, but thank you to Kevin at People Service and Kendra for all your work on getting that done. We do have, last month, I know we read 88% of the meters. We do have a lot of people, unfortunately, who we have sent out numerous notices to, and they just aren't responding. And so we will be sending out shut-off notices to get people to respond to that. Kevin has been working nights and weekends to try to accommodate that, but some people just will not respond to us, so.
For signal down the road too, sorry.
Okay. So we will be going down that path for the people that we can't get a hold of, because we can't fix the meter and get an accurate reading if they will not respond to us. So we will be going down that path. Upcoming items, we have Valley Days planning meeting next Tuesday at 6, planning commission next Tuesday at 4:30. The police department, I believe led by Officer Dorman on this one, is doing a mental health thing. It's called The Effects of Social Media on Youth Mental Health, Risk Factors and Positive Measures. That is open to the public. It's on May 20th at the DC West Performing Arts from 7 to 8. So thank you, Officer Dorman, for putting that together. And then Valley Cleanup Day is Saturday, May 31st from 9 to 2. Any questions on any of that? All right. Number 31. Consideration of proceeding in closed session. We believe closed session is necessary for the protection of the public interest and pertains to threat and litigation and related matters. Would entertain. Can we, I do too, like, let's say we're gonna go into closed session, we can do that while everyone.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to proceed into closed session for the protection of the public interest.
Purpose of strategy related to
Strategy related to threat and litigation.
Second.
Vote, please. All in favor? All right, Christie, 9:43.
Yeah. Can you go now?
No.
I know. I get it.
Really fast.
Sorry. What? Did you say Linda?
And